Now you're playing with podcast.
I'm recording.
All right, welcome to part 3 of our countdown. The Wonderful 101, which now I've learned is a Nintendo game, so now I feel lame.
And an awesome Nintendo game.
Is it a Wii U game?
It's a Wii U game.
It is, and it's actually a Wii U game that's getting a lot of attention, and it's kind of unique looking.
And when it's not in the top 101, so let's shut up about it.
It will be next year.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
do this again.
Next year.
We're not doing another list next year.
Why not?
The top 101 games you did not put on the list last year.
The
There
top
you
100
go.
Wii U games? No thanks.
There's not that many.
There's not that many.
Let's go in a circle around and introduce who's in this round of conversation. I'm Chris.
I'm Tatton.
I'm Becky.
I'm Sam.
Steve?
Scott.
All right, the S group.
True.
Wait. Yeah. Wait.
Sam, Steve,
No.
Scott. Sam, Steve, Scott.
Yeah, and there's an S in Chris, so Tatton and I are left out.
We're the only ones left out.
White
Yeah.
bread
No.
names.
So let's
Becky.
start with number 50. Can you, well, as we do it before, we'll play a little sample and everybody can scream what it is.
If we want to play this game.
A Dragon Warrior. Yes. Oh my God, it's on my list. Shut up.
Dragon Warrior for the NES. So I think Becky wants to talk about Dragon Warrior for the NES.
Well, I just we got a repro of Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 for the Super Famicom, well, Super NES, and I just recently beat it, and I love that game. We have a painting by Amy Dingman of the hero of Dragon Warrior. I just remember as a young girl that was the first role-playing game we ever got. The kids down the street got the subscription to Nintendo Power, and they got the free game, and they were too young to play it. So the neighbor was like, "Do you want this?" There's a lot of reading in it. So I got to play it, and it was great because, you know, it was something that I could play by myself, and it didn't require reflexes. It just required having a brain and being able to read. And it was wonderful, except my brother was afraid of the wolves. He was terrified of the wolves. So he would like go out of his way. So he would be like, "Hey, Becky, are you going to play Dragon Warrior?" Well, yeah, but Mom says I'm not allowed to play Dragon Warrior if you're watching. Well, I won't get scared. Go ahead and play it. And like every single time a wolf would show up, he'd like scream, run into the room, and be like, "Becky's playing the game again!" And then I'd have to get kicked off of
What a
it.
dick.
Yeah, he was. There's a reason he's called Idiot Boy.
You got a. There was a free copy from Nintendo Power.
It was a free copy from Nintendo Power, but we just got the cartridge.
Did
I
they
didn't
do that
get
because
anything
they
else.
made too many?
Yes,
Okay.
they ET'd it.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they
It was a
thought
mega hit in Japan, and then they tried to bring it out over here, but it was about
They
2-3
didn't
years
anticipate
after
it.
it came out in Japan, and it looked dated, and RPGs were still kind of a nerd genre. In fact, they were a nerd genre.
Yeah.
And if you played RPGs at that point, you were going to play them on a PC. You weren't going to buy.
I mean, yeah.
Nintendo
Also, like
playing.
the age of Nintendo players was, you know, my age, and we didn't want to play a game with lots
Right.
of reading in it.
right,
Well,
and
it
they use that.
involved
They use that
reading.
old English.
Thou
and
art dead.
I loved it, but I was
No,
middle school, so I was
Yeah.
probably
It was
you know,
completely incomprehensible to me as a child.
Yeah, I was going to say, as an adult, I love it, but as a child, I couldn't get into it.
Well-
and it's hard to
well-
stand that against Legend of Zelda, too.
Towards 3, that's when I started.
So, another story about my idiot brother. He couldn't read when he started, you know, to picking up the game and realizing that I could play, but he wanted to give it a go. He was 2, so you know, I give
He
him
couldn't
a
read
pass.
while he was 2. Oh my
What?
god!
Terrible. But so what he did was my friend and I had gotten all the way. We had gone all the way through the final boss's dungeon. We were ready to beat him. We had maxed out our level. We had Erdrick's sword. My brother knew enough to go to the first town, sell Erdrick's sword for the bamboo pole, which is the first weapon, and then save the game. So I lost the best sword in the game for the worst one, and he saved it. So
Could
I
you
had to.
Can't you reacquire it?
You can reacquire it, but that meant that I had to go around and get another sword. So I had a piece of crap sword, and I had to go back to the
But
final
at the maxed out level, that still wasn't effective. I mean, I don't know. I haven't tried it.
It was okay, but it was still a huge disadvantage because I didn't have. I had to step up and actually try to reacquire good swords just to be able to get through. Because the enemies, there were some of those enemies that were just.
I remember when I
ruthless.
played that game, I was kind of a pussy as when I first tried. The first time I played it through, and I always like get scared of like the red dragons in the last dungeon and those final enemies. I would run away from every battle.
Oh,
But I ended up beating the game at like level 19 or something ridiculously low.
Yeah, and the thing is that I say this, I swear, my friend Adam beat the game at level 11. And I remember just 11. 11 was the number, but I can't remember if he beat the game or if he got Erdrick's armor at level 11. All I know is
11 seems way too low.
Yeah, all I know is that he ran from everything and had amazing luck and died all the damn time.
Like, I don't even think those people that do speed runs that constantly reset could get.
Yeah.
What were the votes on this? Were there 2 hosts?
Yes, I voted for it, by the way. There were 6 votes total, 4 guest, 2 host.
And I have a question as like a collector. When Nintendo Power sent that out, was it in a box? Or was it just like the game in an envelope?
Well,
I actually got a copy full. I actually bought it because I wanted it. I saw the Nintendo Power previews. Like, this is going to be so great. I love like Dungeons and Dragons and Swords and Conan. And
so I only got the cartridge, but there was a booklet that Nintendo Power sent out, which was like an explorer's guide,
right.
An explorer's handbook.
Did you get Final Fantasy, the first one?
Have I played it?
Did you get Final Fantasy?
Yeah.
Like new?
No.
Because it was that style of instruction book. You know, the NES instruction books were like
it was the SNES size.
Okay.
It was the SNES size, and it was like the full. What was the Dragon Warrior? The entire game, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it walked you through the whole game.
I thought it was like a Nintendo Power sized issue.
There was
that
a
as
strategy
well.
guide.
Okay.
Yeah, they
Or
did
inside of it.
There was one for
Dragon
Final Fantasy.
For
there
Dragon
was
Warrior,
Dragon
there was
Warrior one. Yeah, it was a thin one. It was only a
like
few
a thin
pages.
booklet
Like
where
every
the
other
poster
month they would
goes.
come out. Back then they would come out like 4-player extra was one of them. I know.
Yeah.
Well, and it wasn't even that big. It was a very small, like multiple page. And then also there's a poster of Alefgard that you could get. And so for me, it was the first experience I had with role playing. It was also one of the few games that I could actually play with any skill, just because I don't have the dexterity or reflexes or response time or words to define that. But like all of those things, I wasn't very good at. But I could play that game, and I felt like we did well enough that we beat the Dragon Lord. The music was wonderful. It was a lot of fun, albeit the entire game. It's that.
So did you use the guide to go through it? Because
No.
I didn't have a guide, so it took me months
It
to
took
figure
us
out
months.
how to get the fucking rainbow bridge.
Oh my god!
I used every combination of the stones of sunlight and the staff of rain, and and I was too big of a puss to like go across the barriers in the town to get to the guy to tell me where to find the Erdrick's token.
It took long enough that we got Erdrick's armor, and I knew about Erdrick's armor because my best friend had gotten it, and then the copy was given to me and my best friend, my other best friend, and I sat in her basement, and we just it would be like she grinds one day and I grind another, and we would just go through and like we maxed out the level, and I think it maxes out at level 30, and that was. There's still a level of difficulty in that, too, where you're walking through and some of those monsters are just really not
You're not
easy.
super strong. You're not a tank.
Right,
even
exactly.
at level
Well,
30.
and that's the thing. Like, the nice thing about the Dragon Quest games, Dragon Warrior games, is the HP is not ridiculous. So, when you have 150 HP... like, you're still taking a good hit instead of Final Fantasy, where it's like, oh, cool, I've got 6,000 HP and I'm taking a 600-point hit. Like,
so,
it's just,
are we the only two that played it?
I played it, but again, like I watched friends play it. And
Did you have a
then,
Nintendo Power subscription back then?
my first one was Super Mario Brothers 2. My first
That's the
Nintendo
first
Power. Oh, it
No.
is? No, wait.
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
no. It's Zelda 2. That's the one that I got. I read the
That
other
was
ones.
like issue 3.
Yeah.
That was the first one I got too.
Yeah,
I
I
wasn't
just
very far
remember.
in.
First one I got was
In fact, it
Castlevania
was funny
4.
because all of the first several issues of Nintendo Power are all sequels. It was Castlevania 2, Super Mario 2,
Track
and Field 2.
Yeah.
Oh, with the shoe on fire? Or
Yeah.
something?
And my friend actually had the newsletter before Nintendo Power,
Yep.
so I remember them
Yeah.
sending that to him.
Fun
and reading
Club.
it.
the Nintendo Fun Club. Yep. Those were fun.
Any words, Tatton, before we go to the next one? Because you didn't say much.
Yeah, I love this game, but having to select a menu to go up and down stairs.
Which is the whole reason that and it was like a game breaker. I was like, hey, you should play Dragon Quest IV on the DS, and he was like, do you have to select stairs? And No, you do not have to select
There
stairs.
aren't that many staircases.
How do you
That's
get up and down in your house, Ted?
Yes, stairs.
I stand at the bottom of the stairs and I open up my submenu and I select stairs.
Stairs.
And then the Resident Evil stair loading screen comes
Tick,
on.
tick,
while
tick,
you're-
tick, tick.
And you got to select door. I mean, did anybody play Ultima? Because I mean,
yeah.
that's what this was.
Yeah,
based
that's
off of.
that's very much. Well, and I will say, like another, gushy. I'm a fan of this. Is I absolutely love the monsters. I love the monsters. Like as soon as I decide that I'm going to have enough guts to get tattoos, I
Slime.
think Dragon Quest monsters are going to be placed permanently on my body, and I'm going to have to explain it to the people who are bathing me in the nursing home.
I have to say, like it had crappy graphics, but the monster graphics were pretty cool for its time.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm a sucker for anything that has Akira Toriyama art, like the same
But
guy.
with
who did Dragon
1988,
Ball
were you?
Yes.
Did you know who the fuck he was?
I knew who he was in '92.
Okay.
And so, like, as a teenager, revisiting
Going
it,
back.
because I was the same way when I was a kid, and I had it, because I got it through the Nintendo Power subscription, too, and I just ran from everything. Like, the first time I got something that wasn't a slime, and it killed me, I ran from everything that wasn't a slime, and you can't grind on slimes. So,
Sounds like a shitty metal band.
so like,
slimes.
after...
Try to, and they just kind of they're globular.
Actually, you feel pretty good.
That's a discussion.
Too bad people listening can't see me grinding the slime.
Podcast, which
Yeah,
we're
you
going to
can't
have
handle
to
that jelly.
Here, I think we have to cancel the show.
But, like, after I played
Turn
Final
that
Fantasy
Facebook down.
Sorry,
Facebook beeping.
I got my list.
Concern
here,
it.
so fine.
Live reactions to your grinding.
We're live blogging our grinding.
Stop. Please stop.
But
All
no,
right.
like after I played Final Fantasy 2, I learned how to play an RPG, and I went back and revisited it. Like it was really cool. And I recognized the art. I didn't know who he was,
Right.
But I knew it was the Dragon Ball style. And then
I just at the time was like, it's a cartoon. It looks like a real cartoon. Oh my god! But they weren't animated at all. So
Well, it looked great. They actually used the color. They use the color palettes in the Final Fantasy. When you go into the battle menu, it's black. And then you've got a little bar up at the top of, okay, it's apparently in a river because, look, there's a little bit of water up at the top. Like, it's black, and then that's where the enemies are. In the Dragon Quest stuff, with the exception of, being in the caves, you were in the...
just in the first one, the rest of them were all black backgrounds.
Which is true.
And I do have to say, I think that the art was better in Dragon Warrior than it was in Final Fantasy. And especially
Different. I was pretty impressed with Final Fantasy because it seemed more that
Kind of simple.
it wasn't a cartoon. It was like those fantasy drawings. I can't describe it. I'm not an artist, but
Like, you're more closer to the what you
it was
would
more of
see
like
in a
those
D&D
fantasy
book.
drawings that you'd see in a D&D. Right.
It's not the cutesy pootsy like.
But
it's the
enough
same.
fucking Final Fantasy because number 49.
Final Fantasy Tactics.
I'll get used to it.
Yeah, you have to understand, video game music is predominantly what I listen to. I do not listen to much else.
So did we? Did we combine a Final Fantasy Tactics with another one?
We
Perhaps?
certainly did.
We had to.
First of all, this is the first game with 7 votes in our list, number 49. 6 votes for the PlayStation version, 1 vote for the PSP
Hell yeah.
War of the Lions
Okay.
remake.
Okay.
But, I mean, it still would have been in the top 50 either way. This just bumped it up a slightly bit. No host votes, no guest votes.
Sorry, I voted for Final Fantasy Tactics Advance.
We did
and
have a
I
discussion as to
actually-
whether we should put that in there, but that's different enough.
It's completely
yeah.
yeah, because they get sucked into a Final Fantasy
Ivalice.
world, and it's ridiculous.
Or however you say
I
it.
have to say I got this back in the day, and I did not like it. They just threw like an entire history book in my face.
So story-wise,
And the tactical RPGs I could never get into the way I could like single player or party player style games. So I got to like the third battle and got tired of it.
It's so handsome, the game. Like, it has, because the backgrounds are 3D. You can rotate them, but they look like sprites to me. Like they match
I
with
think
the sprites
the
very
characters
well.
were sprites.
The characters were sprites, but it doesn't have that like jarring ugliness like that.
it wasn't
those
overly
type of
blocky.
games.
It was it was kind of polished.
Yes. Yeah. I played a lot of this game, but I would, because your characters can permanently die in it, and I would build up all these
Yes.
characters, and they die like randomly in a battle I'd been fighting for half an hour, and I just would get so sick of that. And
Well,
I'd want to start over.
They only die
time.
permanently in a game if you let them turn into a crystal.
Yeah, that would happen. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'd
be like, at least they're not a crystal. Oh, they're a crystal.
Yeah, well, yeah, which is a total pain in the butt if you're like 45 minutes into a battle because you're really working hard on something or grinding. Like, I'm grinding for hours and hours, and hey, somebody's dead.
I think I just have to play it and not worry about losing a few characters. Like,
right. Don't get attached.
Yeah.
Don't name them.
I feel like nowadays I'd be more prone to play a game like that because, like Chris, I didn't have the patience for it. And then after playing the new XCOM, I completely opened up my, okay, I get it now. And I should go back and check out a lot of the tactics games and stuff. But
what's the rarity of this one? Because when I got I got it when the Black Label version, the original, I got it for cheap, like $25, and then it like got rare.
It
and then they did a greatest hits.
They did a greatest hits,
but I still think it was fair. I mean, it wasn't like Final Fantasy VII money for a while, but I still think it's kind of hard to find, right?
It's one of the harder to find if you're looking to complete your Square collection.
It runs
but
about
not
30, though. It's not.
Yeah,
like
it's not
80
bad.
Like it used to be.
It's not stupid expensive.
No.
Right. And so I will say that my brother and I, that was one of the few games that we had, and we beat the hell out of that game. We maxed out the clock twice. So you can max out the clock at $99.99, and then there's another menu screen that you can go into that actually clocks beyond that. Mm-hmm. You can get to 120 hours. We put in over 120 hours on that game.
Wow.
We maxed out as many characters. We maxed out Cloud, and Cloud you actually acquire way later in the game. Yes, you can get Cloud in the game, so yeah.
Like Final Fantasy VII Cloud?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah. And he's got
whatever
foofy little limit break. That's not Cloud.
But this was when Square was on an absolute roll. Like they had everything was
oh my god, everything was wonderful. Well, I will say, like
different genres, like 900.
Yeah, jumping into different things. This was the first time I had played a tactical strategy RPG. The story, I couldn't get into the story. Didn't give a crap about it, but I absolutely loved the battle.
Very badly translated. I think probably the PSP version is better.
It's so boring. Yes, the PSP version was a whole lot better.
The presentation, you just can't wade into it. You're just thrown right in. Here's this is
the history of the village and the people, and here's your king, but the king is deposed, and here's the other people, and they're fighting, and we bring these blah 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 people in. There were some neat characters in it. I absolutely love it when you get a kick-ass female character, and Agreus is amazingly awesome. Like, not only is she a cool, fighter in the game, but she also, she has a purpose in the story arc. One of the few story arcs that I paid attention to. But it's a lot of fun. The only complaint that I know that Tatton said he had about it was you have to rotate your person. Like, you have to...
you have to face your enemy.
Yes, you have to face your person. Otherwise, somebody will come up and stab him in the back.
Well, but no, they always walk around you anyway.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which way you do it.
Well, I think that's part of the strategy you're supposed to do is you're supposed to, stay enough at a distance that they can't get to the sides of you because it kind of comes to a point to where it goes, but...
if you just back yourself into a corner, you wouldn't have this problem.
Yeah, but that's when...
That's perfect tactics, right?
Right, yeah, and then everybody comes after you, or they summon, big freaking monstery things, and it comes after you and kicks your butt.
Yeah, I'm not good at tactics games, but I like tactics games, but I don't like the ones where you have to pick the direction on there. Like, I love Fire Emblem. And it seems like the Final Fantasy Tactics could have been great if it played more like Fire Emblem.
Fire Emblem doesn't matter what direction you're moving.
No, it can be any direction.
But this and Shining Force and Fire Emblem and even Advance Wars.
Tactics Ogre.
I haven't played that one, but I like the idea of these games, but I just never learn any of them and never get into them and get good enough to play them through.
There was one that really surprised me, Ghost Recon for 3DS. Do you have this game?
Yes, that was actually really
Final
good.
Fantasy Tactics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's not even advertised at all as being an RPG, but it absolutely.
That's definitely a sleeper hit on that system.
It's gone down in price, so I might check it out.
Yeah, check it out. Yeah, it's awesome.
It's totally worth it. And Final Fantasy Tactics is very good.
All right. Number 48.
Eco, Shadow of the Colossus.
Damn, we got some good
Nice.
people here.
Nicely done.
So, Mr. Shadow of the Colossus, tell us about it.
It's a good game. I like Eco way better. Okay, no, Shadow of the Colossus is does a lot of a lot of interesting things. It's a game with not much in it except for 16 bosses. Have you played it, Sam? Maybe you should talk about it.
Yeah, actually, I have a friend who in my 20s would always get a game without even thinking and then go home and play it. And we picked that up without knowing a thing about Shadow Colossus and sat down in front of his TV and basically beat the game in about 6-7 hours. And yeah, you basically hunt down huge, giant monsters that you climb on their backs, you stab. There are no other enemies in the entire game. There are many ways to die in weird ways. There are little glitches, or not in glitches, but like, isn't there something where if you eat berries, you will permanently take off parts of your life or something? There's like
maybe, yeah. There's all sorts of mysteries,
things.
And people are still like discovering new things about it. It's just a huge open world that looks like it was lived in thousands of years before you appeared, and it has like ruins.
It's the first game to have like kind of a realistic horse physics. Like, it's really actually had a horse that worked.
A good horse.
Horse armor?
No horse armor.
No. But the controls were little. I mean, that they made it loose enough so where you feel a certain amount of tension when you grab on and do things. But it was a little broken in some places.
Yeah, they tried to do a little too much, I think, with it. It is cool that every single Colossus you defeat in a different way. So they're their own. I mean, that's the appeal of the game. I could do without the riding 20 minutes just to get to the Colossi.
And I'll never forget, like, there's a part where you fight a big giant bird monster, and you haven't really, have you gotten used to climbing on monsters and doing all that? There's a part where you literally grab onto a wing and it takes off.
Yes,
and you're flying, and it just blew my mind because you're flipping in the air, you're turning, and you're just shaking.
So is this like kind of like a roller coaster, like God of War?
No.
Like
it's nothing
no,
like that.
it's so like I mean, roller coaster, but it doesn't. There's a lot of control, but you're not really controlling it. It's almost like it's on rails.
No, actually,
No.
you for the little amount of things you can do, so you can use your sword to stab things,
and you have a meter,
and you can grab onto things, and that's it.
And that meter,
so it's sort of like a real-time Dragon's Lair. That's kind of what I'm. No,
it's kind of an action game. Like when you grab on to the back,
it's like nothing else. Actually, I guess,
it'll shake you, and your meter shrinks, so you can only hold on to the thing for as long as you can, or you fall off. And do you give anything away about the ending, or why it was kind of even more spectacular afterwards?
I don't know. Maybe I think we've said enough. We've tantalized people if they haven't played it.
It's not as cut and dry and simple as you think by the end.
Is it immersive? I mean, graphically,
it's probably the most immersive game I had played up to that point.
The graphic style is absolutely beautiful. One of the most beautiful games they made, I think, on the PlayStation 2. And I mean, it kind of brought Ico back as well, because it was the same developer that made it.
Yes, back then kind of in the same world. Yeah.
Ico was not well known at that point, kind of a cult classic, and then Shadow of the Colossus comes out,
it became valuable.
Some people realize, oh my god!
And I really need to get that collection, that HD collection.
Yeah.
I've waited so many years now, and I'm like, ooh, I just want to play.
They made that collection in anticipation of The Last Guardian, which is still not out. It's vaporware. I know. That looks to be better than Colossus even.
So you guys, even though nobody here voted for it, you guys agree top 100 type game?
Oh,
totally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I still can't believe they pulled off the graphics on the PS2 in this game. I mean, it is just remarkable. And it's one of those games, too, that if you go back and look at the ads for it, it's one of the few advertisements that uses a screenshot rendered from the game, not pre-rendered, to advertise it. I mean, that's how gorgeous it is. It didn't need something pre-rendered or something else to sell it. Like, it could sell itself.
And this was a case where, because I think it was a pretty substantial hit, it was way more popular than Ico, and a case where quality was rewarded, I think.
No, definitely.
New IP.
At the same time, too, it's also, when you look at all the generic shooters and, everything using the same, like, the Mario 64 style, like, over-the-shoulder, move and an action button and, maybe, like, a special button, and then, the other analog stick uses the, controls the camera. Like, everything is really kind of plays the same. It was really nice to see somebody take a risk and actually have it, like, pay off for them. Like, I appreciate that they released it in the first place, but I really am happy that it got like the response that it did.
And
First
there's
or
a little
third? First person or third person?
Third person.
Third person.
And something that I really appreciated too was there are certain designers and people like I think of the Grand Theft Auto games a little bit where they have little touches that are in no other games. And Shadow Colossus, each time you come across the Colossus, there's always either like there's one that's stuck in the dirt that shakes off all the dirt, or there's always these little human touches that you don't find in other games, that there's an actual personality on what they're doing. And
also it gives you, when you're kind of going the right way, it gives you a cutscene because you're just in this huge open world, but it'll kind of just give you like a 2-second, like, oh, yep, you're going the right way. Something really dramatic. In. Yeah.
I love that game.
All right.
Yeah, I think it's great, but I like the original one a little bit better, and everybody loves Shadow of the Colossus more. I'm sad.
I didn't get to play Ico, so I look forward to it.
I bet a lot of people are in the same boat.
All right. Number 47. Everybody should know this one. Oops, hold on. Have to turn up the sound. La 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 la.
Drum roll, please.
All right, now here we go.
Metal Gear Solid.
Okay. Everybody pretty much knows this.
Wait,
so
did you just say Metal Gear? Like a little touch? Yeah, yeah.
Everybody knows this. So what I want everyone to do is I have this little ditty, and I want everybody to do their own Snake death scene. Okay? So go around the room. So Tatton's first.
Snake! Snake! I've never played it. What? I've never played it.
Oh, really? Any of them?
No.
Metal Gear Solid?
No, I put it in the NES.
Okay, so here you go, Becky. You can still just yell Snake really loud and be like over the top frightened for his life. Okay, here we go.
Snake! Snake! Sorry, Tatton's ears are bleeding now.
Now, my death's going to be silent, but I'm going to add the end to what Snake's actually thinking. When he
dies. Here we go.
Should have never had that rattlesnake.
That's Metal Gear 3, right?
We're going to run this into the ground. Steve's turn.
Snake! Snake! Snake!
That's my Meryl impression.
All right, Scott.
Snake! Snake! Snake!
I'm trying not to yell too much for Tatton's sake.
My hand is like sitting on the volume control.
One of my favorite memories of this game actually has nothing to do with the game. It was one of the Game Junkie videos that the guys did back in the day. I think it was and they actually had Ben, one of the guys, dressed out just like Solid Snake. And then they cut back and they actually put a cardboard exclamation point above his head when the guard found him. It was well done.
Oh yeah, Snake! Come in,
Snake! Snake!
Cincinnati heard that.
That's it.
That was good.
So I'm aware of this. I've heard the music before. I know my brother was into it. I know a bunch of the guys that I worked with at Micro Center would always that was the noise. So they'd be walking around and be like, "Boing!" Like, oh no, either you got a text message or you've been spotted.
I still use that for my text message sound.
I still have my pre-order T-shirt from getting this game when it first came out.
We have the demo disc. Was there a demo disc or a soundtrack? Okay, yeah.
This is another one of those games I just cannot believe they pulled it off on PlayStation hardware.
And
I mean,
it was not even late.
Gorgeous.
It was only 3 years after the system came out.
Like
2, yeah. 98, yeah, 3 years after the system came out.
Well, and I don't even think DualShock was out when it came out. Was it? Or was it on the horizon?
Just about the I mean, maybe, I don't know what came first.
It doesn't use DualShock.
About that, it wasn't, it wasn't designed for it.
But, and this was one of the first games that, or maybe the first game that had the cutscenes were made from the game, from the engine, and that blew my mind a little bit.
Was it the first multi-disc PlayStation game, or were there a couple before that?
Final Fantasy 7
came
out. Yeah, and Resident Evil 2 was 2 discs. So,
I do remember Ninja, the the fight with
The
Ninja.
Cyber Ninja?
My so idiot brother used to play a bunch of Castlevania.
Yeah.
And like I remember him playing it, and he was like, "Oh my god, check this out! You like Castlevania, don't you?"
Yeah,
and like he was freaking out about, dude. And it was because the Konami game recognizes
looks at your
the
memory
save.
card.
Yeah,
the save on the memory card.
And then also
sorry.
Also, the game, it's kind of like Eternal Darkness. The game breaks on you when you fight 2, and you have to put the controller into port 2 to move. Oh my god. Weird.
Yeah. I remember actually playing the first Metal Gear as a kid, and then hearing about this and playing it and being like, that is pretty much the first game with a completely 3D world. Like that they nailed it.
And they didn't try to go super realistic with it. Like that's the key to making the graphics so good. I think they came up with a
cartoonish
style
element
that they came up with a style that fit the system's limitations.
So is this one of those games that didn't get better as it went on, like the rest of the series? I don't think other Metal Gear games really made
is better. I think Metal Gear Solid 3.
like the storylines got way too convoluted.
Oh yeah.
See, I stopped on 3 because when it opened up more, it was harder to do the stealth, and I'd had a real big problem
the controls
with 3.
like. The story got more convoluted. The controls got more convoluted. You have to press like 7 buttons at a time to like aim your gun. It's like
nobody liked 2 because they hated the character.
Yeah, although the demo for 2 is worth it.
Yeah, the demo is worth it.
Yeah,
I don't understand what's going on.
Zone of the Enders.
Yeah.
I can't remember anything. Do I love this girl?
Yeah.
Raiden through the whole game.
And they didn't call him Raiden; they called him Raiden.
Mm-hmm.
Oy.
Yeah, for me, none of the other games hit that sweet spot that the first one did. I tried 3, and I picked up 4, but I haven't even put it in yet.
What about the card game for PSP?
Well,
You
your
may
acid.
or may not have those.
That is
That was a launch
actually-
title, man. That was a killer app.
It's kind of cool, but it's convoluted.
No.
It's convoluted card game. I mean, it's But
So I could
I appreciate
never
what they tried.
in the first one. I could never. Is it Meryl's her name? And you have to save her by surviving the electric shocks. I could never do that. And she dies. So, like she actually gets killed.
That's something I'm really good at doing is the button mash.
Killing
Maybe
people?
it's from
I hate
playing
that.
guitar so much, but
Yeah.
I'm really good at getting a little twitch in my thumb, and then I'm like I usually.
I heard you can use
excel
a
at those.
spoon, like this.
That's
Yeah.
naughty.
Oh,
We're
and
not
it even
even gonna
says
talk about
I know if you're using a turbo controller or something like that. Like,
We're not even going to talk about the tech demo known as VR missions that came out on PlayStation.
Oh,
but
that was
remember
kinda
VR
cool.
missions and there was a lot of VR missions on Metal Gear Solid.
Yes, there were.
Which was crazy that they put all that effort into that. And then VR missions, the game itself is good too. Yeah.
But it was also really great just to have a game that kind of, you had your radio and you talked to your colonel, and like everything just seemed much more interesting. Like you kind of played to get to those next moments where the story was bizarre and funny and then weird and
What do you think of
convoluted.
the voice acting?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
And
especially
for the
first game
time.
with like really good voice acting.
Maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Pretty
I think,
good back then.
I think David Hayter was the guy who did the Snake, and he actually did such a good job in the voice acting that when they re-released Metal Gear Solid International in Japan, they used the U.S. voices in it, which is awesome.
And then they decided not to have him for the new one.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
we're gonna
Because
have
Kiefer-
was it
some
Kiefer
actor-
Sutherland?
Kiefer
Sutherland,
Sutherland.
yeah. Jack
God
Bauer.
damn it. That's solid. That's
That's
Snake for you.
Snake Bauer.
I'm gonna kill your wife if you don't tell. Wait, sorry.
I'm gonna shock you with this lamp if you don't.
And I
Oh,
like that.
shocking one.
If you use the right weapon, you could completely annihilate a boss. Like the rocket launcher, I think, when you're fighting in the helicopter or something, or
Well,
is that
and
on?
you don't have to kill everybody.
No,
you can.
you don't.
You don't have to. It's not about
You
the
can knock
body
'em out.
count. Yeah,
Metal
you
Gear
can
3
go ahead
has
and
the
like.
thing. I think you're talking about some other game that has this, where you see all the enemies you've killed.
Yeah.
So Metal Gear 3, you have to walk through this purgatory,
Yeah.
and if you've killed everybody, you have to walk for about 30 minutes.
Yeah,
and
they
see
did
every single person
they
you've
did it
killed.
in the Final Fantasy Dawn of Souls. That would make me cry my eyes out. I can't do that. I'm
Bring
sorry.
up Final Fantasy for everyone.
You just have a little Z, a little
All
Z.
right, so the next is Madden and Final Fantasy.
All right, number 46.
I'm the sports guy, and I didn't even go for Madden.
Super Metroid. No.
PC.
I'm out.
Monkey Island?
Civilization.
Is that the original?
Yes.
Wow.
I thought you voted for one of the...
Did these votes get counted for the first game itself or for the whole franchise?
No, we voted to combine these.
It's a game not known for its music.
3 votes for Civilization 2, 2 votes for Civilization 1, 1 vote for Civilization 3, and 1 vote for Civ 4. We figured that the narrative was pretty much the same in all these games.
Just a graphical increase.
And had we not combined them, this wouldn't have made the top 101. So we voted to combine. We had if you didn't know, we had a big debate one night where we voted to combine some games and not combine other games. And this is one of the games we decided to combine. So I've never played any of these games, so I kind of know what you do. But somebody else that's played them, tell me about it.
Have you?
I played them a little bit, not a ton. My strategy game playing was more real time back in the day. Played a lot of Age of Empires when I was in college, but Civ was kind of the alternative to the real time strategy games because it was turn based. And it's probably been the best turn based strategy game that's been out. In generations. I can't think of one that has, held on as long, has had the same kind of following. Real Time's done all kinds of different things, but Civ has always been there.
There's a guy that had his game into year 30,000 or something, and he just started.
I remember that, yeah.
And all these people in Reddit were trying to help him out because the whole place is a nuclear wasteland, and
yeah,
it actually played itself out in real time.
Well, he was
sort of for
he'd been playing it for this long, or I don't remember.
I think it was off and on for 11 years. You'd pick it up for a while, put it down, pick it up, put it down, and the game.
I always thought of that game as the old bad 50s kind of how to where they have the stereotypical mother trying to cook and then everything goes wrong at the same time. That's me playing Civilization. Is just
that was me playing SimCity.
So I didn't play much of this, but I watched Jay, my neighbor, used to play the hell out of this game, and I watched a lot of it, and it's pretty mesmerizing, and I could see an addiction to it.
And it's fascinating how it goes from the very, very beginning times all the way to modern and futuristic. All in a single.
And you learn a little bit of history, not really, but you meet Napoleon, and you
learn a few stereotypes.
Yeah.
So it's Bill and Ted, the computer simulation.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it is. It's you meet Gandhi, you meet Attila the Hun. Yeah.
We've learned to imitate.
Take him to the water park.
Exorcally.
Waterloo.
It's like the Bill and Ted game.
Oh, did you see the Angry Video Game Nerd of Bill and Ted? It's the newest one.
All right.
But even now, Civ 5 is out. They just released a new version of Civilization 5, so it's still kicking, and I have no doubt it will continue to for a good long time.
Fly into space.
Who made that one?
That's Sid Meier.
Sid Meier. It was a Sid Meier game.
Was it Nexus too, or no?
No,
I think it was just Sid Meier.
Okay.
It was the ones now that are now being produced are produced by 2K. I think they bought up that franchise.
It was one of the top sellers on the Steam sale, too, wasn't it?
Yeah, they get prominently shown on the Steam sales. I think this time around it was $7.50. So you could have Civ 5 for Game of the Year edition for $8.
Well, I would get it on my Wii, but of course that's not available to me.
I think they did a version for PS3, Xbox.
I was joking.
They did. Civ Revolution.
Never played them, but
I
did not play that one.
It's a controller. I think having a controller in your hand as opposed to having a keyboard and mouse.
I don't know about that game though.
That would go.
That seems like a keyboard kind of game.
Yeah.
I tried that with Halo Wars. I couldn't do it. It needs a keyboard. Mm-hmm. As soon as you have to select units, it is not easy to do that with 2 analog sticks and 8 buttons or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a PC gamer, but I am happy that we've got an okay representation of PC gaming in our list. This and Deus Ex made a list already.
Yes. Thank you, listeners, for being eclectic.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Technically, really, Portal in those. Those were console later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Half-Life.
All right, number 45.
Castlevania 4.
Is that Dracula X?
Ghosts and Goblins? No.
Gauntlet.
Very good.
Good.
Well played.
That was right there.
I had this game on the Mac. Black and white.
I'm embarrassed by my Ghosts and Goblins.
The first true quarter-munching game.
Hell
yes. Yeah, because your life is running out the whole time, right?
Yep.
Your life just goes...
Yep.
Beautiful.
Blue Warrior needs food badly.
I had to do an email to my precinct today, and I was like... I was like, I'm burnt out, or I did something along those lines, and I was like, Wizard needs food badly because it applies to that. It's not. It was a hard day at work, and I need food badly.
At our
so we had a big variety of votes for this one. 3 votes for the arcade original, 1 vote for the PC version, 1 vote for the NES version, 1 vote for Gauntlet 2 in the arcade, 1 vote for Gauntlet 4 on the Genesis, but they're all the same game. Gauntlet 4 on the Genesis was 1, but with like a quest mode. Mm-hmm. The NES mode was sort of different, but it was the same premise.
And it had a different cartridge.
Well,
it was the Tengen Black cartridge, yeah.
They had both. There was licensed and unlicensed. But it's, overhead game, multiplayers, shit tons of enemies to kill, nice, cool little bits of characters, and death. You had to fight death.
Yeah, it was really exciting. I mean, and for its day, like the kind of dungeon crawler aspect that it had was really unique. And I mean, it was one of those. It was one of the first games too, where I remember there were like spawn points for enemies, and you had to like take out the spawn point, or else enemies would just pour out of them. And,
right.
It was busy.
That
it was a busy game.
The 4-player aspect. I think that was the first time I saw that wide body cabinet with the 4 players, and that music. The theme song we just heard. Growing up in Cincinnati, there was a Holodome Hotel in Sharonville.
I stayed there.
I missed it so much.
A Gauntlet 2 machine, and I would just sit and listen to that demo music constantly. Like, this sounds like a real orchestra. Holy shit! But I mean, real
foul-mouthed child.
No, I didn't say holy shit. I thought holy shit.
Mom and Dad, this sounds like a real orchestra. Holy shit! Go to your room.
That kept me out of the pool half the time, just watching Gauntlet being played, and there was no point. There was no ending. You just played and played and played and played until you ran out of money, and.
But so simple, so appealing.
There was an end. I thought it was level 99.
Did not have an end.
Did it need to have an end though? I mean, I think you feel accomplished as long as your quarters went down well.
Yeah,
like pinball.
Yeah.
See, I always thought of it as like one of those games that really put me in the place the first time. Like there wasn't a lot of games that they would be kind of off, or like this is a person and it's just like something that's not resembles anything. And then Gauntlet was like, oh, I know what that is. Like I'm in a dungeon. Like there's actual, I can put myself there, and it was really great.
This was Chainmail Bikini Woman too, wasn't it? Wasn't she selectable? Wasn't there some
Valkyrie?
Yeah.
Again, how many pixels was she though?
Well, but didn't they have like the screens where they had like the full pictures of them, and it's like she's in a chainmail bikini which protects absolutely nothing of a body. Like,
my armpit.
She should have a deep like. That's why her HP's going down.
Well, if she would just eat her food badly, then...
Wait, you do not eat your food badly. You need your food badly.
She eats her food badly.
Chris, did anybody vote for Gauntlet Legends?
Good question. I don't have my full list up here.
I think we would have added that if there was.
No, I think we actually separated those out.
I think that was separate enough that those were very
3D versus 2D versus... because the arcade or Gauntlet Legends had the... you could save your game or have a password or something in the arcade version.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see my tally sheet here.
It may not have gotten in the list, but it should get credit for being a very good remake of an old arcade game that captured the style well.
Well, I got to say, too, like, the NES ports were amazing. Like, that was one of those games
they were dead on. Yeah.
Almost perfectly translated from the arcade to the home version, which was nice.
Yeah.
There was a vote for Gauntlet Legends and Gauntlet Dark Legacy, but those were not included in our tally. Still got 7 votes.
Legends much better. My opinion.
I couldn't get into the 3D ones. I tried. I don't know what it was. They changed like just enough from it that it felt more like it was trying to be arcade Diablo than it was trying to be like an updated Gauntlet.
I was just about to ask: is Diablo a successor?
I think so. I think this is the
spiritual,
the action the action origins of the what do you call the mining or the collecting or whatever, the farming of items is.
Mm-hmm. And there are plenty of games that are like blatant ripoffs of Gauntlet 2. So like there's one on 7800, one on TurboGrafx. I can't. Dark Chambers, that's the one. It's a terrible ripoff.
You know what they need though? A dual stick Gauntlet where you can move and shoot in different directions like Robotron.
Yeah, I was going to say Robotron.
Awesome.
Oh my god! Somebody get on that.
So, fun fact: if you have the Lynx version, you can play it in vertical mode.
The Lynx version, you could play as like a nerd. They had like all kinds of weird characters in that.
I have advice right now. All of you Xbox Live, there's a game called Epic Dungeon that got changed to Cursed Loot, and it's like $1, 80 points, and it's not exactly like that, but there are like you find objects, like you can equip like a ring that'll help you. There's cursed objects you have to make decisions, and it's all sent kind of like Gauntlet. It's very, very fun. It's called Cursed Loot.
That's kind of cool.
Try the demo out. Or something.
Very cool.
Is that an indie game or?
Yes, it is an indie. You gotta search.
I wonder if I have any points left.
Wait, you gotta go through the advertisements, then you have to go into the games, then you have to go back through there, then you have to go through another search, and then you'll find the downloadable games.
I'll need
go
food
through badly by the time I get to it.
Is this why they got rid of that?
Red Warrior is about to die.
Don't click on the Adam Sandler movie and just go in the back.
I do have to say I like the arcade narrator better than the Gauntlet Legends guy, because they try to over-masculinize that guy. Yeah. Red Warrior into that super like all that late 90s hyper-masculine
like almost
shit.
like trying to sell you a car.
Gladiator, ready?
Red.
Snap it to a Slim Jim.
Yes!
Art thou? Yeah! I've probably done that impression.
Elizabeth.
All right, number 44.
So quiet. Nacho Libre, the game.
Luchador Wrestling 7?
That's like a Ween song for a second.
Red Dead Redemption?
We're all going to be stumped.
Boring modern music. That's Resident Evil 4.
4?
Ah.
Wait, that first song was from Resident Evil 4?
Yes.
Is that in a town or something?
Not a game you think of from the music, but good game.
Why didn't we just hear chainsaws?
Yeah.
Resident Evil 4!
Some of these were hard, I'll tell you. There were no recognizable melodies for some of these.
Gave GameCube a life. Like, even stronger, bigger life.
Yeah, it was a GameCube exclusive for a while.
Got 5 votes for the GameCube version, 2 votes for the Wii version.
Nice. And had its own chainsaw controller for the GameCube.
Yes.
And the PlayStation 2. That thing was odd.
And my favorite guy ever. What are you buying? What are you selling?
What are you selling?
So they
I'll buy it for a high price.
They revamped this, right? I'm not.
It's not that
fan. It's
tweaked.
not like 2 or 1. It's
It's over the shoulder.
Yeah.
It's still a tank control. Excuse me, but it's over the shoulder.
And you get a really nice laser pointer for it.
Yeah, for your gun. It's unforgiving. The game.
Yeah.
I mean, the game. It's very tightly controlled. It's not like it's unfair, but it will kill you in a second.
Isn't there quick time events? Isn't it like
there are?
Yeah. I'm running away from something.
A
Holy
big
crap!
rock.
Hit
so it's more action based than horror and suspense based.
Yes.
And I tell you what, too. Like I remember getting that game day of with my friend, sitting down, going into that town. And the dude with the chainsaw comes out.
Cuts your head off.
You're
dead.
I'm like, oh my god!
Your head falls off.
You're down. And then you have to figure out how do you navigate that town. In fact, you have to board up the doors a little bit.
There's lots.
You can
actually,
go up on the roof.
Pretty cool. You can do lots of things. Yeah. You can go in and board up the doors or lead them other places and pick them off.
Or get in a car and drive away and not play that game.
No car.
It's terrifying.
And
but they technically weren't zombies, right?
There's gigantic bear traps.
They were.
In and
it was the 28 days later thing where we have the virus, so we can move faster than.
Yeah, it really has nothing to do with. It's really a stretch to connect it back to Umbrella Corporation at this point.
Is it Chris or
Chris
Leon?
Redfield?
Okay, it's Chris.
And it had my favorite sniper rifle ever. Because it always was so satisfying when you used it. The controls were actually really tight on that GameCube controller.
Oh, and I like the item inventory was Tetris. Like if you had to fit all your pieces that you had in, and then you could buy like more pieces for the grid,
and then you had to turn your gun around counterclockwise to make it fit with the rocket launcher and your.
Sounds annoying, but it was fun.
It was Eastern European, right?
Yeah.
So Tetris makes sense.
As someone who's had to travel on a plane with camera equipment, that felt really realistic.
I remember selling this big when I worked at GameStop.
For the GameCube?
Oh yeah. Well, and I remember there was a big push for it, and I definitely remember. Hold on. Thank you for calling GameStop, where you can reserve Resident Evil 4. My name is Rebecca. How can I help you? Yeah, I totally remember that, and we reserved a ton of copies on it. It was a big deal, and those controllers, those are hard to find now too.
Yeah.
Those
Do you have
things
one?
are no.
Okay.
I still do.
It really reinvented the series, but it's been stagnant since
They haven't
then.
done shit
10
since
years.
then. That was the last
Yeah.
one.
And
5
let me
and
ask.
6 are not special to me.
No, 5 maybe
Scary
stopped
giraffe.
the series actually because it just was like
6 is supposed to be worse.
they literally made bosses
Giraffe.
in 5 that you had to beat co-op, and I didn't have someone to help me play the boss, so I could not. And I just
Weird.
said screw it. Also, was it the first GameCube to really have an M-rated game on that console?
I don't
No,
know if it was
Eternal
a-
Darkness.
Eternal
They probably
Darkness
had,
was
like
that?
Biker Outlaws or something.
Yeah.
Or
Like,
BMX.
It just seemed like
BMX
BMX
Triple
XL.
X.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
But,
it was like
you know,
really
One of the better
justifying.
selling M-rated games
Yeah,
on that system.
it was really justified me being a GameCube owner because everyone wanted to play it now. Everyone would have come play the
GameCube
game
looks like a
because
purse.
it's like it's not out on PlayStation or anything. So it's just like, oh god, it's like only for the GameCube, which changed a few years later.
And
but
it's super
good.
long too.
It's a really long
incredibly
game.
long.
Well, it
game.
was
Yeah.
was
Two
it 2
discs.
discs?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was two baby
little
foo
tiny-
foo
Yeah.
discs.
Good luck if you break that case.
They're like those
'Cause-
CD
Yeah.
singles
Yeah.
you got in the early '90s.
No, they're like boop. There were two.
That, like
I
one
like
weird
the
setting.
GameCube discs. They were wonderful. Oh, and what I'm saying about Giraffe is look at the Resident Evil 6 logo.
Looks like a giraffe.
It
Oh, the
does
6
has
doesn't
that
connect.
weird
it
thing.
does look like a giraffe and other scary things that people have tied together for some reason because apparently people on Reddit have questionable minds.
Yes.
Was it Reddit
People-
that we
Really?
saw it on? Or,
Yeah, it was
oh yeah,
Reddit does.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing.
No. Shocking. All right.
Space Giraffe. Wait, don't get
What are you buying?
No,
What are
it's
you
not
selling?
Space Chicks Giraffe.
Number 43.
Is it?
Metroid?
DuckTales? No.
Here comes the rocking part.
Oh gosh.
Is that Battletoads? No.
Wait. Oh,
River City Ransom?
no. Come on. No.
Bad Dudes?
It's not
That made the list? What?
Tecmo Super Bowl.
Look at the non-sports
Wow.
player.
Wow.
Sorry. The only
Very
reason that I know
good.
this is because
That's got to be Tecmo Bowl then, though.
Yeah.
That's Tecmo Super Bowl.
Okay.
Considering how much of this I've watched on Twitch TV lately because the tournaments are in vogue right now,
Yeah.
I should
should
know
know.
this, but you're not watching the intro.
I just feel
Well, no.
shamed.
So you know what's crazy? Do you know why I know this song? Is because
Arm
Arm
Cannon?
Cannon does an amazing version of this, where they actually like cut in the middle of it, and they're like hut 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 hut.
Nice.
Yes, it's amazing. Like if you like video game music, look up Arm Cannon because they're great. They've got wonderful presence, but they do a great cover of this.
I will.
Is Bo Jackson in this one? I can't remember.
Yes.
Well, here's the deal. We combined Tecmo Bowl, Tecmo Super Bowl. Tecmo Super Bowl got 4 votes for the NES. Tecmo Bowl for the Game Boy got a vote. Tecmo Bowl for the NES got a vote. That was me. And Tecmo Super Bowl 3 for the Genesis got a vote. We put them all together because it deserves it. And I think it's the best rated sports game on our list.
And you don't have to be a sports fan to enjoy that.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
No, you don't.
You don't have to be. No, it helps, but it was like that perfect combination of arcade and realism, especially with Super Bowl when it kept your stats and stuff.
You
And
can play a whole season.
you
on
play a
that.
whole season,
Yeah.
and you
It's
could
safe.
break rushing records with Bo Jackson, never get tackled, and your quarterback could get hurt, and they pulled him off and take him on a stretcher to the hospital. And
It had that amazing, like, fast-paced animation where if you kicked the ball, it would go like it would just cut to a cutscene in the middle of the game, which was kind of unheard of, I think.
Double dribble.
Well, and
Okay.
it
Yeah.
was,
Yes.
you got to choose your plays.
but he
Yes.
only got 4 plays in Tecmo Bowl, 8 plays in
And
Super
you use the
Tecmo Bowl.
code, so
Right.
on your controller.
Right, but it wasn't one of those like real time like. All right, make sure your dude's running, and then select over the other dude. Cause
No,
he's
you just
not
you just
good.
pick your play,
Go.
pass play, run play. It just did it. For
Run
you,
play
you
was
know.
just control pad.
You
once
choose
started
when
playing.
to throw.
The
yeah.
B button selected your receiver, A button threw it, or vice versa.
And it always controlled the right person for you. It seemed it was just so intuitive.
On defense, you picked one guy and just went with him. You didn't get
Yeah.
to choose. You didn't get to swap on the fly and try to. Yeah, the simplicity is fantastic. They've tried to bring it back a couple times, but I think the lack of real players brings down.
They brought it back on the DS,
Yeah.
and there was a lot of hype on it, and they couldn't get the licensing for it because EA sucks. And,
Right.
I'm sorry. Wait, what?
Suck at EA.
They're not listening.
They got a camera right there.
I know the chip in my head's going off. No, so
John Madden just said something to you.
And the rockin' music when you're playing the sports games do not have music in the background anymore.
Fantastic.
And it had that oversized quality, like just cartoony enough to kind of be just always entertaining and great to look at.
Yeah, it's like if you're 7 years old, it's fine. But if you're sitting there, if an adult is picking it up and they, know anything about sports or whatever, because we used to watch my best friend's stepdad play it. And it was just like, we could sit there and we'd be like, and then music was good. Like, that was always nice, too.
In fact, I think last year NFL Films taped a special about Tecmo Super Bowl tournament still being played today.
They did, yeah.
Oh, I had
and they got like Christian Okoye, who was like one of the dominant running backs in the game, to actually go back and play it, 20 years after he was in the game.
I had my guys.
Nigerian Nightmare.
Yes.
I had my guys that would reserve Madden every year when I was working at GameStop, and they were consistent. Like, they would come get it every single year, and before they do Madden, everybody would get together and they do a Tecmo Bowl tournament.
That's awesome.
And it was wonderful.
And there are groups that release modern rosters every season.
They have even hacked the ROM to add the 30-second team.
And if you splurge on a power pack, you can play modern Super Tecmo Bowl on your NES.
They even make repro boards, so you could buy an actual cartridge of Tecmo Super Bowl 14.
Right. I would just splurge for the.
I would too. It's a better deal
for the multi-cart and just put it every season on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's a sign of a really transcendent sports game that people still play. Is there still support?
It shows you how shitty modern sports games are too.
That's true. I mean, I could think of maybe a half dozen games, count on both my hands, the number of older sports games that still get that kind of support. And you can almost name a couple for each genre. NHL 94 would be one. NFL 2K5, MVP Baseball 2005, games like that.
All the wrestling games.
The N64 wrestling games, No Mercy, especially.
The Aki engine.
Yes. There are those games out there that will always have people that want to play it and want to support it, and Tecmo Super Bowl is right up there with probably the biggest of the football games.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have to ask this because I'm not really sports-driven, and I know at least some of you guys are. Sports!
Great sports talk.
Go sports! Really, is having the licensed teams really that big of a deal?
Yeah.
It's not the teams, it's the players.
Yeah.
Still, I mean, is it that big of a deal?
Yeah, you just generic. Well, okay, there are some games.
Think of
back in the day.
Think
not
of sports
as much.
players as like comic book characters. Could you imagine playing a Batman game if it weren't Batman?
Yeah, if it's like
Night
Stalking Hero Man, like it's not.
It's like NBA jams and playing the Bulls. Like you just,
but I mean,
there's the one thing you want the powerhouse, and then you want to bring up the people who are.
A 12-year-old kid is going to look at a sports hero the same way that a 12-year-old comic book fan would look at a comic book hero.
Right.
But I mean,
they are larger than life.
But I mean, like now going back and looking at having the remakes, growing up with the nostalgia factor, does the gameplay not override the fact that it's not real sports teams?
Well, I guess it does, but it wouldn't be on the list if it didn't have the.
If it originally had it and you took it away, then yes. If it never had it in the first place, like Bases Loaded, which one of my favorites, but that has just made up people in it, and that's still fun to play. But RBI Baseball endures, I think, partly because it used real players in it.
Well, who the hell wants to fight Mr. Dream?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dreamer.
I mean, honestly, like if people are gonna put the game
Look
in their
at Becky
system,
with
like
a sports smackdown.
I know, seriously. Well, it's just one of those like, okay, if you're gonna go ahead and play Mutant League football or whatever, it's an entirely different feel on it. But if you're trying to get a more realistic feel for football, you need to have those players in it. It's like I've got my Real Talking sport or starting lineup baseball.
Yeah.
And dude, I'm gonna play the Reds every time because that was my team and those were my guys and I know who they are. Like if you know the team, if you know enough about sports, you're going to be more I guess interested and enjoy it if you can actually
have
has
active
those
interest in it because there's something you can connect to.
Exactly.
And I know nothing, and I love that game.
Well, and I guess the reason I'm asking is because I've been picking up lots of like Japanese baseball games recently, and I don't know any of the teams, and I'm still like having a lot of fun with them. Yeah. But like MLB Power Pros, I like playing with the Reds because I like the Reds. But
it's
great set of baseball games, by the way. You have fine taste.
No, definitely.
The Power Pro are fantastic. Well, I do have the problem of anything that allows me to choose by what the mascot looks like. I just go for the cutest mascot.
So I'm glad it made it, and I think, like I said, other than like some racing games, this is our number one regular traditional sports game on our list, and 43 is a good spot for it. Number 42.
Halo.
Yeah, Halo.
Halo Combat Evolved.
And the crazy thing is, you know the crazy thing with this?
Is you haven't played it and you know the song?
No. I have played it exactly once. I played Halo 3 with Tatton and Jeremy, and they're like, oh, it'll be lots of fun. And they put the controller in my hands, and I did like this walking in circles, rolling the camera like this, and I put the controller down and went, I'm going to throw up if I keep playing. I can't control it. So, yeah.
Is this any first-person game for you?
I can't do Doom. I can play Doom.
Okay.
That's about it.
Interestingly, Halo 1 got 7 votes.
Nice.
Halo 2 got 1 vote. Halo 4 got 1 vote. We did not combine Halo games. This is all for Halo 1.
Mm-hmm. I'm shocked Halo 2 only got 1 vote.
Well, without Halo, the Xbox might have just fallen away to the wayside.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Halo 2 end on a giant cliffhanger?
Yeah.
No, it did. Well, and I think for me, luckily, I don't think we had to discuss this one too much about merging them. Because it did have the continuing storyline, but the exclusion of Xbox Live in the original Halo and the inclusion of it in Halo 2, I think, made the two games completely different because people were buying them and playing them for completely different reasons.
That's true. Halo 1 helped sell the Xbox. Halo 2 helped get Xbox Live off the ground.
We did a midnight lunch for that. We're
we
now getting to things that I sold at GameStop 100,000 years ago.
Big old party, that was Junkie back in the day. Tournaments. The Halo games were the first games that we really saw that the tournament scene really.
Who was the host that voted for? There was one host vote.
That was me, actually.
Really?
Yeah, which is funny because actually I was really mad at Halo because Halo was originally supposed to come out for the Mac. Bungie was a Mac developer. They started with a couple of guys just burning their own discs in their basement, and they were developing a game that was supposed to make Mac like a legitimate competitor. There was going to be something that was exclusive to Apple for gaming. It was a big deal. Steve Jobs talked about it at Macworld and stuff like that. And then Microsoft comes in and throws their money around and steals their foul from under them. And I was like, I am never going to buy this game. I'm never going to play this game. Like, forget this. I'm done with it.
See, I felt that way the same way too, and it's why I didn't get an Xbox until 360, like 2007, because I just was always like, I wanted to go Dreamcast route. I just wanted to start to just fall. But then I actually did see the game, and I was like, people were playing it and like having a ball, and I played a little bit of it. I'm like, I'm not going to get an Xbox, but I understand.
So after GoldenEye was the next great console first-person shooter.
Yeah, you could string 16 Xboxes together?
Well, and that's why it ended up on my list, was because at the time I was working for Micro Center. I was working at their home office, and the communications manager would host a Halo night every Friday night. And it was like, everyone's getting together and playing games. I want to do this. I don't care if it's, a game that I hate. I just want to go and hang out with folks, whatever. And show up. I grabbed a copy for, probably $18 or something used. And that was the most fun, LAN party experience I've ever had amongst all the gaming I played.
Hi, young kids. Do you know what a LAN connection is?
Yeah, there was a TV in the main room, a TV in the dining room, a TV in the basement, and a TV upstairs in one of the bedrooms. And it was great because we would sometimes we'd pair off in teams. Sometimes we'd just be just individual, whatever.
You hear people screaming underneath.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. There was that awesome interaction from everyone. There was energy all over the place. It was really fun. And it was in the day of online gaming, local multiplayer gaming is dying. And one of my last large scale, very fond memories is with Halo.
There's a special kind of joy that comes with that kind of, LAN party, system link type gaming. And it's interesting when you compare, what's your first thought of Halo 1 compared to what's your first thought of Halo 2. Mm-hmm. Your first thought of Halo 1 is exactly what you just said. Getting together, linking your systems up, 16 people playing, pitting against teams. You're trash talking the guy you're looking at him right in the eye and having a blast with it.
And it was new. It was like a new concept. Like, this is so weird and cool. Like that we can all join in with.
We knew about it from a PC sense, but all these console gamers had never experienced anything like that.
Well, and it was so easy to pack up a laptop and carry it somewhere, and even then it was easy to find people with multiple TVs. It wasn't hauling your desktop, hauling your monitor, hauling your keyboard and mouse and everything. I mean, it was
And like the Xbox was a very portable 25 pounds. So
how about the controller? How well did
the Duke controller?
The Duke.
How did it work with first-person shooters though? Were people satisfied?
Yeah, it was good.
No, it was beautiful.
Yeah. Good triggers. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It did work for that game.
There's too many buttons.
See, I was mad that that Microsoft bought the Oddworld game from Sony. So no, same thing, but like nobody cared about that. I did though.
There's like one first person. Time Splitters 2 is always going to be a little higher for me.
It's a good game. And what's your first thought of Halo 2? Jumping on Xbox Live and having 13-year-olds cuss at you about your mother.
So what's funny about that is when Halo 2 came out, we I think did 2 or 3 parties, and then they died after that. Yeah. Like as soon as Halo 2 hit, all of the interest died. And that was the end of it. I mean, we never did another one after that.
Don't they at PAX? They still have people bring their Xboxes. I think they do this. And
absolutely,
play
like
Halo
the whole
1.
Floor.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of feel like now I can go back and play Halo again because running all the tournaments we did back in the day of Halo. I mean, it was watch the people that were world class at that game who eventually went on to play it at MLG. It's like an art form watching them play that game.
But
it's amazing.
The Warthogs, is that they're called?
Yeah.
Using those again, it was really rough.
But I think also it should be said it's a fun as hell one-player game.
It's super
too.
fun.
Oh,
I
one player,
went back and I was just like, oh, you got to be kidding me! Am I driving my old Pontiac with the power steering off?
Yes, you are.
Wonderful.
But now I can go back and play that game some because I've been disconnected enough from that I can go back and appreciate it for the game as opposed to the skill.
Vote for the Xbox 360 10th anniversary Bullet Gargle? Okay, alrighty. Which is crazy that.
Or has anyone played it? Like I hear it's good.
I picked it up, but I haven't played it yet.
Yay.
Haven't played it much either myself.
I do have to say, the other thing I love about this is the fact that the pistol was equally as effective across the map as a sniper rifle.
How about Master Chief as a character? I think he's kind of bullshit myself. He's just unappealing and boring and
maybe
modern
that's why
gaming.
He's popular because he's a cipher and you can
the
picture
Zelda
yourself.
thing.
Yeah.
He's the everyman.
It's the silent protagonist.
Yeah, you don't know who he is underneath. So,
But I mean, is he appealing though?
Is he?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I don't think he's had.
At the point, he's vague.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is he's not a meathead, so he doesn't push you away from it. Like Gears of War, just feels like they're all meatheads. Like I can't.
But whenever you see like
relate to
a video game store like with they put like a picture of Mario and Link and whoever else, there's always a Master Chief there, and I was like, I guess I have to put something modern, and I guess he fits, but he just doesn't seem appealing.
He's not popular in that way. I mean, I know that people do put him on things, but he doesn't have the appeal. Really,
most people don't know who he is. If you ask somebody in a mall,
but he's so hot when he's teabagging. The thing is the only reason that I know this stuff is because I've seen, I think, almost all of Red vs. Blue. The guys I used to work with they would quote Caboose all the time.
Did they start that where you could actually squat?
And I think that's where it was. Video,
was it
Counter-Strike? Yeah, it was the.
Or maybe that's when it started in 2.
When Halo came out, I thought that he was becoming a character that was going to be like an iconic character, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. He's just like a mask. Who the fucking cares? And he hasn't. So
and generically too, like it's very army fatigue green. And
but is that a problem if you don't have a character
Not
that you're like? I mean, do you need to have somebody that you're overly enamored with, or do you have somebody like okay, we're going to make Squall like really important, and look, Squall's a piece of shit. Nobody likes it.
It is better than having one.
I mean, characters are good for different reasons, and in this case, he's one of them that.
Master Chief never once says shoot like crazy, and that's a good thing, right?
And that's the thing. I mean, that's the thing with the Japanese characters. Like they try to make the main protagonist kind of quiet, so the hope that the player would put themselves in the protagonist role. And you can do that with Master Chief. I mean, you can't see his face,
right?
And he, the way he interacts with characters, the decisions he makes, and things like that are pretty kind of standard. Like heroic. It's the kind of things that
it's Samus.
You as an everyman would put yourself into. So.
Samus.
Yeah, Samus would be
Samus
similar.
in the suit. So she's a chick just because Justin Bailey, but I mean, is that sort of the same situation? I'm going with the ignorance of all I know about Master Chief is what I saw on Red vs. Blue. So
I think Samus before you knew it was a girl would be a good comparison. I think.
Yeah, well, because
after you find that out, Samus has plenty more
a gun arm.
Right. Yeah, I mean,
gun arms are cool.
I mean, even afterwards, I think Samus is still a relatable character because it's not. You don't
right up until Other M.
Don't even start.
Ouch!
It's because you don't have like a personality that's kind of forced on you, and I think that and again, I take it to Gears of War because I hate the characters in Gears of War. Like they draw me away from the game.
Is Other M going to be in the 101 worst games next year?
Well,
it's okay.
Dude, bro, don't you even lift? Okay. Do you even lift? If that's what I assume the character is saying,
you need me to open that door for you, Samus?
Speaking of heavy lifting,
Shenmue? Mario Kart.
Yeah. Yes.
The only Mario Kart with coins.
Heavy lifting?
Number 40 because it was completely no relatable segues. Yes.
Because there were no segues
I went Monty
in that
Pipe
game.
on there. There were no Super Mario segue.
And I apologize because Tatton's ears are bleeding again.
The original Super NES version with 7 votes.
I just gotta. This is the game that Sega used as a bad example of a Super Nintendo game. They're like, it was like this game playing on like the back of a slow-moving ice cream truck or something.
And they were like, it's too slow.
Yeah, it's not, and it's a sweet game. And
it is slow, but the versus aspect is.
Was it an ad for like Sonic 2? I think, or I don't know what it was.
Yeah, like the blast processing and and it was a slow game, but that was
It wasn't really. I mean, playing it was good. I mean,
it doesn't mean it was. Slow doesn't mean bad.
It's slower than Sonic.
Well.
You get motion sick from it. That's good.
Yeah.
It came. So we had the best freaking Super NES ever. Our Super NES came with the cartridge of Super Mario World, the cartridge of Mario Kart, and we got to send away for Mario All Stars. So like we had a bitchin' setup, and it had a controller with it, and idiot brother and I. So he was probably 5 or 6. The only time I ever beat him at that game was the first time we played it because he couldn't figure out how to accelerate. Once he learned how to accelerate, he has beaten me every other time since.
So, which do you prefer, racing or battle mode?
Racing.
Both.
Are we talking just NES?
Just the Super NES version.
NES.
We did
just Super NES battle.
Then because
I like the racing.
The 3D version was too different. I think we finally decided among the 5 of us voting on this shit.
So Mario Kart 64 was in the 50 through 75.
I would go for battle, but if we're doing Super NES, it would just be race.
Yeah.
I did the time trials because nobody was coming after me, and I was okay with it. It was okay because I could be slow and not have to worry about
I think the single player experience with only getting one half the screen kind of was a takeaway from it too. You couldn't play full screen. So it's definitely a game that's way better two-player.
And it has that really strange perspective where it's just a little bit tilted. So if you have like that screen cut, you're already
7,
like...
Yeah, I mean, it was a good idea to use it, but like in this day and age, it doesn't...
I mean, then it was awesome.
Right.
This is another example of a game that completely invented a genre.
Oh, yeah.
There was nothing.
Thanks to Super Mario Kart, we got Smurf Kart.
Yes,
we got.
Oh, yeah, and Wacky Racers on the PC. There was a demo of
Crash
something.
Team Racing.
Yeah. It was all the carts started showing up, and we had to have cart versions of everything.
I said Smurf because I was thanks for the shitty games, Mario Kart.
But at the same time, like
I think it was Wacky Races.
Yeah.
Although Wacky Races was an NES game, so I wonder if that is anything like Mario Kart.
It is a different
type of game.
It is a different type of game. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
South Park Rally. Thanks.
Yeah, I'd say it's a good genre.
They were fun to play, and the thing is that I do remember high school. My best friend, when he borrowed it from us, he went through every race and he ended up maxing it out and beating the game with like Koopa.
That was my guy, Koopa and Toad.
Koopa, Toad, and Luigi, or not Luigi, Yoshi.
Back then, their sizes weren't dependent on their speed, I don't think.
It's weird seeing Donkey Kong in this before he was reinvented in Donkey Kong.
Yeah,
he was Donkey Kong Jr.
He was Donkey Kong Jr., but he was all beefy and weird.
He was the only time that
he was like in a singlet, and that's not okay.
White shirt on.
Was it a white shirt or a singlet?
I thought it was the same outfit he wore in the arcade game.
It was a onesie. No.
It's a onesie that has a J on it, and that's not okay. Take it off, monkey.
No, it's not okay. It's J.
No, wait, don't take it off. Ew.
I have to say, this is still my favorite version.
Agreed.
I did not. I fell out of Mario Kart when it went 3D, and especially when they started adding in the weird drifting. I mean, I like other versions. I think my second favorite is going to be the DS version because that was the first one that let you play over Wi-Fi, and I was able to play with my nieces and nephews and stuff. But for me, gameplay-wise, this is a version I would always go back to.
Mine is still going to be 64. Like me and Steve, I was going to say, we spent an inordinate amount of time where we didn't intend to play that long and having 4 people over and just playing Battle for hours.
The most fun.
And going tech geek for just a second here with the modern emulators and the fact you can upscale them to 1080p shows you how good Nintendo was at programming these games. Because you could put Mario 64 and even Double Dash up and upscale them. They look beautiful.
And even the battle levels, like the one, you could really not tell where people were at because of the interlacing tracks. Like there's parts in the middle, there's parts on the outside. They're up, they're raised. Like they can come down on you, they can fall, they can slip. Like you could put a banana around the corner where people go in tight. Like there's all these methods to play.
Yeah,
and we got so upset with each other.
Without that, we wouldn't have Twisted Metal. I mean, really, the battle was.
Wait, when did Twisted Metal come out?
They did it
95, 96.
That's before.
Oh yeah,
that's before Mario 64, but after Mario.
Definitely an influence.
Right. Yeah, it's like they kind of took something and they were like, let's make it crazy and 90s and awesome. And
the Super NES version has special audio chips, so it had audio features that.
Oh, it was wonderful.
No other game before that had on the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, it was wonderful. I love the soundtrack on it. I'm kind of sad that a lot of those soundtracks are they feel like they're an IP hell because it's something that you can't easily acquire the soundtracks to. But if I remember correctly, the Rainbow Road, I don't remember if you can hit pause and let it go. I think it might have been just let the cart drive or whatever, but I loved the music so much from just about all of that.
Didn't the 1-Ups do a whole album dedicated to Mario
yes,
Kart?
They did. And the 1-Ups, another great band with Mustin, and it's a very jazzy take on video game music. So if you're looking to be a little bit more sophisticated than hard rock, then have fun.
The mini bosses. I can't help it.
The mini bosses kick ass.
They were the first one.
Yeah. They were so great live. There's so much energy.
And you know what's
I didn't even know you could see them live.
Oh, dude, you can see them live, and the craziest thing is that people sing. So they're singing along to stuff, and there's no lyrics. They're just duh, duh, na, 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 na.
Or Excite Bike, the whole crowd's moshing, doing the do 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 do.
It'd be great that you don't see that at a classical concert. Just people are Overture of 1812.
Play it again! Encore! Good bitch.
Alrighty then. Number 40.
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Don't need it. Bam.
Unless you're playing some KK.
Hell yeah.
How many host votes did we get for this?
2.
Oh,
well, yes, but hold on. What did we mash together to get these to get it on there?
We got 2 votes for the GameCube version, 2 votes for New Leaf by U2.
Yep.
2 votes for Wild World and 1 vote for City Folk. So we mashed them.
We mashed. Well, and
this
there's kind of a big
representation from all the games.
Well, and it is very similar.
The fish are totally different.
No, they're not.
But Tom Nook is always the same.
Not in the new one. His sons are now.
Right.
Yeah, he's the real estate agent now.
Yeah, and if you brought your 3DS, we'll be tagging each other here.
I gotta get one. That's the reason I want one. Is Animal Crossing.
It is amazing. They added so much into the 3DS version that it is just phenomenal.
It's Animal Crossing. Steve.
Oh yes. I'm afraid to turn on my Animal Crossing. I haven't played it in
I know
9 years.
You'll have to get the ghost to come out and help you pick all your weeds, and nobody's going to be there.
But my Wario's Woods will still be there.
Yes, I do miss the NES games. Oh my god, that was so great. So Tatton's mom is really, really into City Folk for the Wii.
Yeah, she loves City Folk.
Like he's got a picture of how many hours.
2,398 hours as of when I took the picture. She wants the ATM machine, and the only way to get it is to get 100 million bells. So so she's been grinding for years on bells. Like she has 4 characters. She plays all 4 characters, maxed out the money that you can get through interest. And just money grinds because she wants the ATM.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
and she loves it. I mean, she absolutely loves it.
Well, I got attached to my people, and the thing about Animal Crossing is that if you for a while there I play it every single day, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna talk to my people, and all right, Bangle is really cool, and I also like Melba, and these are neat characters, and Gail's a bitch, and she needs to get out of my town, and it's okay, and then I miss 2 days in a row, and they're like, where were you? And then I'm like, I can't keep playing because I feel guilty about it, and so it's full of weeds, and everybody moves away. I wrote this letter. So a character moved from my town to Tatton's mom's town, and I wrote this letter, and I was like, I'm really sad to see you go. You're one of my best friends that I get to talk to here in town, and it's this really sweet, heartfelt letter. And now she runs around Tatton's mom's town and shows off the letter to everybody, keeps going up to her and look what this person said. I'm like, oh God, that's in a game. I actually said that in a game to a game character. I miss you, Pinky.
You think when the founders of Atari got Al Acorn and Nolan Bushnell and the guys, when they were designing Pong, you think they thought of anything like this could ever happen in a video game?
Not only that, but I will say there are times where when I was playing it, and I didn't play it very long because it's not my type of game, but someone asked me, can I see your house at 5 p.m.? So I'm writing down, I want to see what time to meet later in the day for me to go onto this thing and play. There's no way they could ever expect that to happen.
To be honest,
so unique. That is the only game that I know of, at least on the console side. I mean, there might be some on the PC side, but it's the only one I know of that took place in real time. Things in game time happened in a 24-hour clock. Just
be honest. How many people changed their clocks?
I have not.
Oh, me! I'm total nighttime person. It had to make night day
a couple of times.
So what's awesome is in the new version, in New Leaf, you're the mayor.
Oh, that's what I've been playing actually. Yeah.
Okay, have you done the ordinances yet?
Yeah, but I wanted money, so I did the money ordinance.
I was going to say
the thing that made me kind of mad was that my girlfriend has to use my time clock, so she couldn't have her day. If she made another name or another thing, she would have to play at night to play day. So
the hours, they don't shift too much, but they do. Everything does stay open later, which is really neat.
Yeah,
I think they shift a couple hours in the morning, but they stay open. I think 3 or 4 hours later at night.
They've done some nice improvements on this one. I feel like the game has evolved well to this point. There were some stagnations where
City Folk stagnated a lot.
City Folk was just kind of we're going to make the Wii speak and not do.
And now they can also add on. They can put it in through the connection.
And we can do we can go ahead and go to each other's towns through local wireless, and then I can go see friends from distant wireless. You can go ahead and you have to approve it through the parental controls, but you can go ahead and send friends letters. I like it. So you can go back to the island in the current version, and it is the most wonderful turn your brain off and have fun. Unless you're trying to catch sharks. It is the
Sharknado.
best. It is the best. Just have fun.
We just lost Sam.
Sorry,
I'm not even going to go into it, but that's
thank you.
So yeah, I love Animal Crossing.
Is this a better suited handheld game than a console game?
Not necessarily.
I do.
This is the kind of game I could see, sitting with Anthony, my 4-year-old son, and playing with him on the big screen.
I think
or even
fun,
having my wife Danielle, who's not much of a gamer outside of maybe Tetris and Clubhouse games. She would play this, and this is a game I want to pull out the GameCube and get them into playing because number one, it's so cute. There's that cuteness factor is totally there. It even sinks me in. But it's easy to play. It's easy to delve yourself into, and it does. You don't feel bad being addicted to playing Animal Crossing. You just don't.
It's fun.
Just go and have fun, and albeit sometimes the neighbors will stress you out, but then you can do things like what did you do? You put eviction signs, eviction signs to get.
And I feel great knowing that catching all these things, I'm doing the fishing, and the first time you catch your first shark, you were so elated.
Oh my gosh!
That you're just
Oh yes. Well, no, and it says
oh my god, the bells!
I caught a whale shark, and it exploded. The text bubble was just oh my gosh! It's wonderful, and it's fun. There's a level of educational, where you can go ahead and you can actually learn about the dinosaurs or the bugs. You have to think about what you're doing. You can't just run in and be like, I'm gonna get this tarantula. No, you're not. And you don't have to be social. You don't have to talk to the people in your town. You can completely ignore them. If anyone listening has Cube in their town and they want to get rid of him, send him my way because I miss Cube. Cube was on the original GameCube. Cube is a penguin that would wear a GameCube shirt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I miss him. I had him in 3 of my towns. 3 of the versions that I had, he would start in my town. And then the new one, I don't have a Cube.
It also had some nice innovations, the GameCube game did. The e-reader cards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Had those.
The e-reader cards and then the Nintendo games.
Yeah.
Dude,
which sadly they have admitted they're not doing again because now you can pay them money and buy them yourself.
Right. Well,
Vestiges.
That was the first time I got to play Wario's Woods, and I know my brother would come he would come in my room and it'd be like, oh well, I'm playing Animal Crossing right now, and it's like, well, I want to play Wario's Woods, so once you're done, go to your room and.
Yeah, I probably played Wario's Woods more than Animal Crossing.
So good, so very good.
Okay, so before we move on to the next one, thanks for bringing up Clubhouse games. I love that game.
Heck yeah.
All right, we can do that in Hidden Gems. Number 39.
Soul Calibur?
Ah.
Wait a minute, how many times did you put that on your list, Scott?
Twice.
1 and 2? Or did you put the same game twice?
It was the same game accidentally twice. I had a bunch of Dreamcast games on my list.
Did we merge those guys?
We merged Soul Calibur 1, which received 4 votes, with Soul Calibur 2, which received 3 votes.
Because we wanted it on the list.
Because we wanted it on the list. And it pissed Tatton off.
Well, yeah,
this voted for it.
Yeah, this was one of the first ones that really started a lot of the fighting because there was because there's 4 of us. There was Linda was the tiebreaker. And it was all fighting games are the same.
This was a 3-1 loss.
Yeah, was it a 3-1?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
I think we kind of wanted to get it
Tatton
on.
Might have lost, but the soul still burns.
That actually works.
The battle strengthened the soul of Tatton. No, it's because because there's nuances between all the fighting games. They tweak the characters, they change stuff. I mean,
but it wouldn't make us on the
lost.
list if we did.
I know, I lost.
But it's on the list. So tell us why it's on the list.
I mean, the second one's just to be an iteration.
And it wasn't hardware specific. It was generic. Whereas the Dreamcast was.
I think we determined it was the best
better than
launch
the
game
arcade.
ever, too.
But Soul Calibur 2 had the unique characters per system.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
so that did make it nice.
Yoda.
Spawn, Link, Yoda.
Well, that's Soul Calibur 4.
Oh, Soul Calibur 4. Sorry.
They continued that, though. The
Spawn, Link, and...
Hayachi from Tekken.
Okay.
Which is interesting. They went back and put a Tekken character in there because, you look at... I mean, what was the biggest fighting game that came out just before Soul Calibur did? What, Tekken 3 maybe for PlayStation?
Yeah.
Well, and it tried to be a similar game. It tried to have a 3-dimensional, or 2-dimensional field, not just...
Yoshi, what's his face?
Yoshimitsu was already in there.
Yeah, Yoshimitsu was in there.
Heihachi in with him.
But Soul Calibur, I feel like, was really mastered that whole, 2-dimensional fighting, not just side by side. More than any game had before that. Yeah, and the graphics were absolutely beautiful. That's another one of those games you can put up against a 360 game, and it still holds up.
When the first time we saw it, there was a import Dreamcast at Crazy Birds Video Games. Dreamcast wasn't out yet in America. There was about June or July of '99, and they had it up on demo, and Tatton saw it, and his jaw dropped, and he bought it right away. And then for shits and giggles, we put up a copy of Soul Blade next to it on the PlayStation demo. And we laughed and laughed and laughed and called it the Pixel Station. It was hilarious. We walked all the way back to work just laughing the whole way.
Now, which one had the there's like a strategic element to it where you actually level or you would move through a world? Was that 2? Yeah. Or was it 3?
There was like a quest mode in 1.
It was like a weird one. Where
there were quest modes, I think, in all the different games.
A map screen. And
and then you would basically...
Those 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, one had it as well, but I don't think it was as thorough.
They
as
weren't
the
as
one
ridiculously
I guess I never played one player too.
Block 13 times or something.
Yeah. This Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast with a VGA adapter on a CRT monitor is probably one of the most beautiful things that gaming has ever
It's heaven.
given. I mean,
yes.
It's just
wasn't it like the second game to get a 40 in Famitsu or something?
I don't remember.
And it deserved every bit of it.
Yeah.
Oh, the Dreamcast VGA adapter. What a wonderful thing.
That was the only time I played Dreamcast. I had one friend who had it.
Much of a presence in the arcade here?
No, the arcade was worse. Mm-hmm. It was only 30 frames a second.
I never remember.
Yeah. The Dreamcast game was absolutely
The Dreamcast was better than. I mean,
in fact, I think there's a pretty common mod that a lot of people did to actually put the Dreamcast version in the arcade and have it accept quarters.
Right.
Oh wow.
Mm. And and even if you're fighting a novice, button mashing works.
It does.
No, I mean, this is a great pick up and play, and then figure out how to play it after you start.
Yeah.
And we had fun changing the intro. We would make the scene with the girl with the waving the hair. We'd make the lizard character.
Nice, beautiful background music too.
Mm-hmm.
The kind of gladiator-ish, but a little nicer than that music that really got you in the spirit of how the game was supposed to be.
And the epic narrator. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
I love the narrator in this.
Oh, okay.
Great game.
Number 38.
It should be getting easier.
Link's Awakening?
No.
I'm going to kick myself when I think of this. Is this a ColecoVision game?
Game Boy?
Game Boy. Is this Final Fantasy Adventure? I was going to say.
That's the first Seiken Densetsu game.
Pokemon Silver and Gold.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a good reason why I don't know what that is.
Not very recognizable.
I felt like a failure, and then I realized I wasn't.
Any Pokemon players in this group?
No.
I played a little bit.
Played a little.
I like the side games like Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Puzzle Challenge. Yeah.
Snap was fun. I feel bad because it's a role-playing game. And it's a monster collection game, and I couldn't get into them. I went
they
the
weren't
alternate.
For your demographic.
Let's see if you're playing Dragon Warrior at that young age, starting Pokemon later in life, it's gonna be hard.
Dragon Warrior Monsters. So at the same time that Gold and Silver was out, I moved on to Dragon Warrior Monsters, and it's you can get all the Pikachus and shit like that you want. I'm gonna go ahead and get my slimes.
But it's going from algebra to back to 2 + 5 = 7.
Well, and I love RPGs, and I love mindless grinding.
Slow.
And it's just slow. Yeah,
slow.
I can't.
We were excited.
But what a great introduction for young people.
Oh, sure.
They're wonderful.
Well, no, and
I totally respect it. The fact that it's still around today.
Well,
I know. Who would have thought? It seems like such a fad when it first came out.
I wish I could get into it. I was too old for it.
It's wonderful that I feel like, and I'm going to say my generation, and now I'm going to feel old, but with my generation, I cut my teeth on Dragon Warrior, and I'm very happy that I had Dragon Warrior to start with. And Pokemon started a generation who are willing to play role-playing games. When I was in college, I got a part-time job working at a comic book store that I went to for years. So Mavericks in Cincinnati, if you've ever been there, with Leo, and there was a huge Pokemon crowd that would come in, and so I taught kids how to play the card game, and I would play, monitor the kids while they're playing, and it was neat to see all these kids pick this up and have fun with it, and so I completely respect the Pokemon
and
series.
Like it or not, I think Pokemon was the driving force to bring Japanese anime and whatnot to the States.
It was so big.
It was one of the big ones.
Dragon Ball.
And it extended the life of the
But
Game Boy
Pokemon
even
was
more.
new, whereas Dragon Ball was old.
Yeah.
Was an old show that they brought over here and revamped. And
It's funny, too, because I lived in California, and my whole time there for a year was just work, freaking out, like anxiety, like everything like about moving and living somewhere else. And when I came back to Ohio, like Pokemon exploded everywhere, and I was just like walking back, like what changed while I was gone?
You brought
TV, like
you.
toys, like Burger King, everything.
Yes. Oh, the Burger King stuff.
Super Fighting Seizure Robot. Oh,
yeah, and then like the whole seizure thing.
Pokemon was that the
No,
South
that was
Park
the
episode?
that was
Shin
the
Pokemon.
that was the Simpsons episode.
Yeah.
Where they went to
the
Japan.
South
yeah.
Park.
But it was the Porygon episode.
Yep.
That
The
caused
kids.
they did like the
seizures,
dramatic flashing, but they flash between red and blue.
Yeah, it's really awful. Don't look at it because
And-
either you'll have a seizure or a migraine.
Wait, was this one on Game Boy or Game Boy Color?
This was
Game
Game Boy Color.
Game Boy
Okay.
Color.
Yeah.
And for keeping score, we got 5 votes for gold, 3 votes for silver, 1 vote for crystal.
And this is the first one exclusively for color, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And we went ahead and threw Crystal in there. Well, was it exclusive to Game Boy Color? It
Crystal was a Game Boy Color.
Crystal was a Game Boy Color. Gold and Silver were not. You could still play those on the original Game Boy and Game Boy Pocket.
Oh, that's right.
And I will say that
Oh, yeah,
gold
one of
and
those.
silver, oh
Yeah.
my god, those batteries are pieces of crap. So if your batteries are dead, there are ways to replace them. But those...
Can you still... What point did they cut off the... Because you could transfer your red and blue up to the next gen and then transfer the next gen. How far did that go? Is it still possible to like get your shit from your original Pokemon game in modern games?
No.
They finally cut that off?
Yeah, I think it was like step up once. I don't know that you could go any further.
I thought it was more... I'm not an expert, but that's still pretty nice that they let you do that even at all.
That's a great
Oh yeah,
question.
no, agreed. And it's a bummer that you got the N64 Game Boy adapter to play with your Pokemon.
And what's up with that shit? You
bummer.
can play
That's
Game Boy
awesome.
games, but only Pokemon.
Yeah,
no
that's
other Game Boy
rubbish. That
games.
thing would have been amazing if they would have actually done something with it.
Another reason to hate the N64.
Well,
Yay,
I was going to
got my
say,
N64 joke in.
Someone must have hacked that, so you could play any Game Boy game. But you don't need to if you have like a Game Boy player anyway.
Right.
So,
and
at
you
this
know,
Yeah.
I love young people, but as you said, like with the 64 thing, like now it's starting to get where people on like threads or whatever online are just like, oh, Pokemon, the old days of video games, and it's just like,
Oh no, no.
You're old,
it's-
sir.
There was the
I like
the
it.
guy
Welcome
who was
to the
like,
club.
I like it.
there was the guy I was at Micro Center and I like walked by and this guy was like he was recommending BioShock for the Xbox 360 and he was like it's an old one but it's a classic and I was just like
It is. It's 6 years old.
No, you
don't do that to
didn't.
me.
You got to be 10. You got to go 10 before you can start
Yeah.
saying
no
that.
and I don't even know that
I was
I'd
reading
give it
this
that
discussion
much.
online. What constitutes a retro system? And I think I determined 2.5. It has to be 2.5 generations old.
That's pretty far back.
Can it still work on your new TV? Can you still get it to work through there? That should be the...
Well,
That's
does
a
it look
debate
like
for another
crap?
show.
Yeah.
So, Pokemon 38, and there probably might be another one later. Just saying.
And I think we should, we should say
Pokemon
we
Snap.
didn't combine all of the
Ah.
Pokemon games
We did
together
not.
for this one,
It might have been number one had we done that.
so we only combined the ones that were in the same section. So when the colors
Correct.
like lined up,
Right.
then we combined those. So like red, blue, and yellow were combined. Gold, silver, and crystal were
I
combined.
think those are the only two. We don't need to go into the details since there's more to come.
Well, yeah, that's true.
Number 37.
Metroid.
Metroid.
One note. I can name that game in one note.
Please give me a challenge. I
Where's
told
Kathy
you.
Lee Gifford singing the song on that show, remember? You're watching
Julie
that
Andrews
game?
would be proud.
Who hosted that show?
Oh, man.
What show?
Name that tune.
Kathy Lee Gifford was, or whatever her old name was, she was the singer on that show, or one of the singers.
Oh, really?
back in the 80s, the USA Network would show
Kathy Lee.
reruns of
I watched
shows.
that all day.
Yeah. Press Your Luck reruns are the best.
Hey, Metroid.
But anywho,
This
Metroid.
podcast cannot show a Cheshire Cat grin, but if they could.
This is the game where you go to the left at the beginning.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Well, Kung Fu did that too. But
And-
this is the game where you go to the left at the beginning.
And no auto map,
No nothing.
no arrows to tell you where to go, no explanation of how to do.
It's
No.
Zelda.
And you
Hello.
don't have to get things first, or you can do it all out of order.
Yeah.
I'm
And
surprised
there
it's
was
so
a,
high, actually, because it is a primitive version of a much better
we
game.
we did a combo in this one.
We did a combo.
Yeah.
Metroid for the NES received 5 votes or 6 votes, and Metroid Zero Mission on the GBA received 2 votes.
Yeah, that was a more refined, way easier version.
Yeah, kind of bullshit version, but you know,
Yeah.
I can see why people might like it.
Way shorter version. Okay, but yeah, it does a lot of good stuff.
The
Yeah, it was doing
lovely
things that haven't been done.
mindfuckery of the fact that your main character, like, all main characters are dudes, all main characters are dudes, all main characters are dudes. Put in Justin Bailey in all spaces at the end, and then wow.
You know, would have been better if you knew from the beginning that she was a woman, or is it the reveal that really makes it work?
I think most people knew. It was a shock. I mean, the game was near the launch, like an '86 game, I believe.
Yeah.
And most people didn't get their NESs until later. So once people started buying Metroid, it's like,
See,
the
but
code's
there's
already
still-
out.
there's
Ground
still a
floor.
reveal.
We didn't know until we beat it.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, there's still the reveal. It's like if somebody tells you that Luke is like Vader and all that father crap. Like, if somebody says that,
It's okay, we know.
Vader is Luke's
Star
father.
Wars.
Like, if you are told these things, or if you find them out on your own, like it was very cool to have a character, a kick-ass character, be a woman. That was neat, and it wasn't Super Guyana sisters, so yay.
And it wasn't some sort of like pink outfit,
Exactly, it
was
wasn't like Barbie, and Barbie on the NES is awful. The sprite for Barbie is like 7 feet tall and horrifying.
I just read something about this game I didn't realize, but every room in the game alternates vertical and horizontal. Every single time it alternates.
Oh, yeah.
So there's never any, like, I don't know.
There's no
variety,
two vertical.
really.
There's no two. It's like a
ladder.
what are those Tinker Toys?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I wonder if that's the memory limitations of the system.
you could easily get lost in that game. In fact, the Nintendo Player's Guide had a virtual entire walkthrough of this game. That's how tough it was.
And I have to say too, when we talked about like Silent Hill and Resident Evil and the other ones and how they set ambiance for an
man,
NES
that
game,
music.
this had a
Yes.
really creepy ambiance to it.
Yes.
I mean, you felt isolated and alone and
lost.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Gunpei Yokoi. This was a Gunpei Yokoi game.
really
Yeah,
R&D
yeah.
Yep.
1.
Yeah.
nice.
And when you finally beat Mother Brain, then you had to freaking escape the damn
Yes.
planet, which wasn't so hard, but
It was
your parts already
intense.
pumping
Right.
after you beat
Right,
Mother
right,
Brain
right.
for the first time.
and you're not going to realize.
Then you got to get
there's a
out. You can't
ticking
relax,
clock.
and
I always remember finding the one secret thing as doing the little bombs, and then you
Oh,
literally
so hard to
spend
do,
your
too.
whole
I
life
know.
for the rest of the game just doing everything.
Yeah, I
you
like games
possibly
to be
can.
hard, but I want a little bit of a clue, as to where I should
No, that's
go.
what made it beautiful, and they'll
Well, I
never
mean, back
they'll
then-
never replicate this again because everything has to hold your hand.
Everything has to hold your
Well,
hand.
Map,
I
auto
like
maps
something in
and-
between, like Super Metroid. Where
which is true,
there's-
which is
there's-
true.
You can
There's
scan.
visual clues.
Yeah, you can
Right.
You
scan.
said Metroid was a game you could win. You didn't have to have everything to beat it.
They didn't have virtual keys. That's what I hate about the newer games. It's like where you get this cool item, but it's really just a key.
Yeah, but you better have 5 damn missiles.
That's
Was
right.
it 5? Yeah, or 3.
Well, and
5.
then Captain N, the Game Master, and Mother Brain being voiced by the same guy that did Audrey 2 from...
Hello, Captain Ann. What's
Yes.
going on? Sorry
Yeah,
about that.
oh my god, Blar.
Does not work.
Yeah.
So
Does not compute.
going back to the bombs, though, one really cool thing is the fact that you only get to have 3 bombs. Wasn't a
2.
design factor; it was a hardware
2 or 3.
limitation.
Hardware limitation.
Yeah, it was a hardware limitation,
Did not
which
know
is
that.
cool because I mean it turns into
But
a
most,
gameplay element.
but most of those, like Super Mario Bros., you can only have 2 fireballs. A lot of the games had sort of, or Mega Man can only fire 3 shots at a
They
time.
carried that over into Metroid Prime.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they carried it forward. Mm-hmm. I mean, I think every iteration since then.
And it defeats the if you had a rapid fire controller, you can just blast the shit out of everything. It really made you earn your shots or get close to the enemy to earn your shots.
Has Prime been on the list already?
I forget.
No comment?
Yes.
Yes, I think we talked about it a while ago because we merged one and the collection we counted because it had one in it.
Yeah, 93.
There should be more Metroid. I don't know if there are.
Perhaps there might be.
I think it's a safe bet not to give away more shit again. But
safe bet.
Yeah. So number 36.
Sounds like Brian Eno. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sounds ominous.
Airport music. Parasite Eve.
Silent Hill, yeah, no.
Is this more the modern forgettable music?
Yes. That was the BioShock menu music.
Really?
Yes.
Beaten BioShock 3 times, and I didn't recognize it.
It's an old one, but a classic.
Yeah. You know, it's funny, actually. My first experience with the HD television video gaming was my friend. Like this game came out, I think it was, when did it come out? Like summer or May? It was at the time when they were not releasing video games and there was no games out. He got an HD TV, kind of 40, whatever, 6-inch. Sat down, he's like, let's play BioShock. And it was the first game I got to see in HD. And like, it was amazing. When you come up on that lady with the baby carriage and the shadow, and she's, like everything about that game, like took that level of Shadow Colossus or Metroid for atmosphere and then took it up into like a hyper realism for me.
In case anybody gives a shit, 5 votes for the 360 version, 2 votes for PC, 1 vote for PS3. Obviously, we had to combine this one.
Good.
This
story,
is one of those things where, like,
world.
the story and the art direction, all that kind of thing, are impressive to me. But as a game, I couldn't give a shit about it. Whatever. I can take it or leave it.
But we love you for liking it, listeners.
See, I actually don't like to play Call of Duties and stuff, but I like shooting games that have like a heart or something behind it that I'm invested in.
I like to feel sorry for what I shoot.
Well,
like the Purgatory in Final Fantasy.
I mean, people in BioShock are all mutated off of their like things.
Rationalize it all you want.
I will rationalize the video game. It's like, where are your children? Oh no, I didn't say that.
So I mean, that's the thing.
What
it's
it did
like,
to me.
I don't like this game either, but I appreciate what it is. Like I like the design, I like the art, I like the story, I like what they did with it. It's just
you're
not
being manipulated. It has one of the best turns ever in a modern video game, where you think you're helping this one guy out, and then you find out that like he's been manipulating you with would you kindly do this and that, and some really neat story arcs that raise the bar for people to actually give a shit on making a plausible story instead of getting like, I don't know, Gears of War and your arm is the size of your ass. And
the maker of the game is Ken Levine. Is that his name? He actually he goes for something more than just a standard game. Like
I think it's just kind of pretentious. It's not the most pretentious game.
But that means he's trying. So,
okay.
Dude, bro, do you even left? Because it could be that.
That's Cliffy B.
Oh, God.
Cliff
Blazinski.
Yeah,
that's the Gears of War creator, Cliff Blazinski.
Oh, gotcha.
Epic Games. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Who's this modern savior of gaming.
And then quit. Well, didn't quit, retired.
So BioShock or BioShock
going back
Infinite.
to saying Nintendo Power World.
And only a couple of votes for BioShock Infinite.
That's the best game ever, though. Clearly.
Oh, shut the fuck up.
That's what the guy said when I bought it. But no, it's way better than BioShock, though, I think.
Yeah, you know, I like
soon, literally.
See, and here's where I start to have fatigue is, like, you don't like the gameplay. I can handle the gameplay up to a point, but when I played BioShock Infinite, I was kind of... I love the skylines. I love jumping around. It made it much more, like, just flowing, but I got so bored of the combat that I was playing it for the story.
Me too. Yeah, towards the end, I just wanted to... Because I heard how mind-blowing it was, and it was pretty mind-blowing.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
I haven't played it yet, but I really, from the screenshots and the videos, I love the color palette they chose.
Oh, man.
I mean,
like,
it looks like it's bright
I stand
and
there for like 5 minutes just like, I could move, but, you know, I'm checking this room out.
So let me ask you this. The best video game stories compared to the best movies or best books, not even close?
No, it's not even close.
So why not make this a movie?
Because everyone would already know the ending, I guess. I don't know.
It's a good question.
But it's nice to be able to experience your own, like take a story and make it your own. Like you don't specifically have to make it, where you have to sit in a theater. Like I'm the kind of person that, Tatton and I like to sit down and we like to watch movies, but we really like to watch them by ourselves. And I will say that the most fun I tend to have is me holding a handheld game system and playing it by myself. So being able to take something that instead of making it into, a blockbuster movie, and how over the top is that going to be? Like, if Michael, Uwe Boll, if Uwe Boll were to get his hands on something like this, I know.
What are you doing?
So I think you just said his name in this awesome podcast. How could you?
Okay, I'll rectify that. The only good movie I've seen for video game recently was Takashi Miike's Ace Attorney game, or movie which you can watch on YouTube briefly now.
Holy crap.
But it's really neat. It's a bit long, but it's fun.
I think the makers of the game would say, well, you make it your own story. It's customizable.
But you don't. It's a
narrative.
But
you don't, because you just find what you like and you just play. At least for me, I play with the same weapons the whole time. I don't care, because that gets me through the game. I don't need to use any of the L trigger, whatever those.
Oh yeah. Like you can use
things.
The not spells.
Yeah,
cover and stuff.
I never use those. I hardly ever do. I just
use health.
Game's too easy.
Make me health. That's about it.
Number 35, my favorite menu music of all time.
TLC Waterfalls. Oh wait.
Break it down.
Katamari.
Yeah.
Nobody knows this.
Jet Grand Radio.
It seems like an old
Dance Revolution.
NES, Super NES type of.
Oh, Tony Hawk.
Yes.
It is Tony Hawk.
Pro Skater 1, 2?
Yes, 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Best menu music. I can listen to this on a loop for 20 minutes, and I think there's a YouTube video of just that.
So does this? What's the song? Does this have the Superman song, or is that in the second
No, but it
one?
does have this as the intro. And since it's the N64 version with no lyrics, I can keep playing it.
Yeah.
But this does the first one. It does
Police
have one
Truck
like
by the,
really
Dead
killer
Kennedys.
song. There was one song that I would like restart the level just to hear it, but I forget which one it was.
The ska song?
Yeah.
That's on. I think that's in Tony Hawk 2 though. Yeah. But that might have been.
Which one was Motorhead Ace of Spades in? Because that song seemed to fit that
Oh,
so well.
Yeah,
That's good.
such a great song.
But anyway, yeah, this is another game that had a demo that was just like unstoppable. Like
So
just one level.
Here's another mashup here. 3 votes for Pro Skater 1, 3 votes for Pro Skater 2, 2 on the DC, 1 on the PlayStation for 2, 1 vote for Pro Skater 3, 1 vote for Pro Skater 4. 4 was kind of the black sheep of those first 4 games, but we voted to combine them. Again, we had no actual logic. We just voted, so the logic could change game to game. We did
your
not.
brother would kick your ass if you
we did not.
Here.
We did not thug, or we didn't put any Tomahawk Underground as.
Tomahawk Underground.
I think there was. I mean,
Thank you for not including Tony Hawk Project 8.
Yeah.
There was a discussion about this one because we were debating whether or not to merge in the ones that let you manual versus the first one that you didn't.
Yeah, but we wanted it in the list and high up in the list. That's kind of why we...
See, 1 I always kind of like because it was a little more claustrophobic compared to the other games. Like you were... I mean, people love the idea you can go anywhere, but I like the first one was just like, this is our first game. These are the concepts. This is the play. But I mean, 2 and 3.
1 for me is just basically the first level.
I love
the warehouse.
This game, but I cannot play it worth a fuck.
No.
Yeah,
I can't do it. It was in the first Hexadecathlon. My brother suggested it.
Yeah,
and only him and Brad got like anywhere near a good score.
Yeah, I couldn't get Piddle in it because I remember I fall down. There's blood. I fall down. There's blood.
It's like not
like other people could watch Resident Evil in the previous episode. I could watch Tony Hawk for hours, but I can't play it for shit.
And for multiplayer, tag mode, that was ingenious. Like that was one of the best gameplay elements that I mean, multiplayer
if you could
was
play
amazing.
it.
Is that like horse?
It was
like you had to do a trick on a specific ramp.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was best trick on a ramp gets tagged.
Whoever gets the higher point trick on that ramp gets their
best
tag.
trick on a ramp gets tagged.
And it had a really cool oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, then if you couldn't see what points were set, you just saw a color, whether it was your color or someone else's color, or like your opponent's color. So you would have to just go and just line up, as big of a trick as you can just to see if you can take it or not. So you could just jump up and just like grind across the top of something and just claim it real quick. And, it'd be a quick point, but if, somebody else got it, they'd get it. But, so you had to, decide if you want to just go for, quantity or quality.
And one of my, at my peak on 3, I could do the whole cruise ship on a rail for the whole time.
Yes.
And that was a lot of fun. But you also have to keep in mind...
And on 3. Blitzkrieg Bop was on 3.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
But I will admit, though, that that was at an integral part of my life where a lot of the Tony Hawk playing was hazy. So I can't recall too many... memories from it, but Sean Palmer's snowboarding was another fun one too. That had that had the template.
Slingers.
They had a bunch of those extreme games at the PS2.
Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX.
Yeah.
The Razor Extreme.
Little known fact.
Johnny Mosley's Mad Tricks. What if it snowed in San Francisco?
California games.
Little known fact: you could play Tony Hawk 3 over the internet before the official broadband adapter came out.
Yeah, they had
you could buy a Linksys USB
your FireWire
adapter.
I remember that now.
And you could play it online. I remember when Tony Hawk 3 came out, I went to Best Buy, stopped down my $30 to buy that chintzy little USB adapter so I could play with friends online. So it was truly the first online PS2 game.
And even though they way milked it over the top, there were a good 3 or 4 games in there that were...
Yeah, those first 4 were very good. First 3 especially.
Some younger people might not understand how big that took over. That was a big... Before Grand Theft Auto...
Skateboarding games were not good.
Yeah, to whatever,
Skater Die!
Sorry. That was selling a lot of
TNC
PlayStations
Surf Design.
Yeah, there's another game that just completely, Grand Theft Auto 3 kind of came under the radar.
Skater and Street Skater 2.
Roller games.
But that took over. Everyone was playing that game back then. You couldn't go to anyone's house without seeing Tony Hawk.
I think something should be said about how good the animation is because it includes all of those moves, and you could play as different skaters too, and duplicated. And
they had each skater's special move too.
Mm-hmm. What's Tony Hawk doing on the overpass?
The 900.
The
first thing you can do, Tony Hawk's signature 900.
Mm-hmm. And then he had the successful ride, which made millions of more. No, it didn't.
Oops.
It was actually at some point. I think they're trying to give it away with the game.
Skate Shark.
Yeah.
I think you can buy that at Big Lots right now for $4.99.
Shark. Yeah.
Well, I think they had at one E3, or it might not have been an E3, but it might have been a presentation, literally Tony Hawk's on it, and it's not responding in real time with the game.
Gotta love that when they do a demo of a game and it doesn't work.
Well, and they also, they announced it, and then an hour later, they had the Kinect, and they did the exact same thing with a better response with, no controller. So it was, the smallest
And the NSA
lifespan.
watched you while you were playing.
The whole
At that point, Tony Hawk said, fuck it, I'm going back to covering the X Games.
Fuck it, I'm going to sleep with my best friend's wife.
But actually, they did the HD DLC game, which is actually quite fun. It has some remix of the 2 levels, and it has some new levels, and it came out, was it last year? It's a bit expensive, but might
music because of the music, probably. Was the music intact, or what they do to it?
It was a reimagining. It didn't really have... it had probably some of the same tracks, but it's not
because
necessarily...
the new Crazy Taxis have crap generic music.
No,
Yeah.
there are real songs in it.
The offspring
There are real songs in it, and I'm pretty sure real songs from the games.
All right. Getting down to the number 34.
Ninja Gaiden? No.
No. It's
Contra.
yes. Up, down, left, right, BA start.
I can live
Which was the code that
30 times.
The code they made so the designers would be able to play through the whole game. Wasn't that it?
Yes.
Yeah, it was
That's what most of those codes were for back in the day. They weren't for helping the players. Another combo here. We did 5 votes for Contra and 3 votes for Super C on the NES. We liked Contra enough, so we wanted it on there. Again,
the gameplay is close enough.
Gameplay's virtually the same. There's the base levels were different, I guess, but
we'd already made the Ninja Gaiden decision. To merge them, so we decided to merge those two.
And Contra needs to be way up there.
I played through this recently. I was surprised at how much of a ripoff of Alien it is at the end.
Yeah,
it is.
Every game was back then, but
and a really easy last
Konami
boss.
was notorious because on Metal Gear,
The cover? Yeah.
the cover of Metal Gear was Terminator, or Reese from Terminator. It was blatantly him. It wasn't even
the cover of Contra is Commando, I think, and Rambo.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit.
All right, quiz question: who beat the game with 3 lives?
Okay, so I have to admit something really awesome. There's a There's a cover band, and they're Bid Brigade, and they do they'll play their music behind someone doing a playthrough, and was it this last year or the year before? No, it was this past year.
This past year they did 2 games.
They had someone live on stage playing through Contra.
No Game Genie.
No 30 live code.
No.
And they played the music and then put the video up of him playing. So they played like the themes as it was appropriate to what was going on.
If you could concentrate, I don't think it's impossible.
Amazing.
It's not super hard.
It's memorization. It's muscle memory.
It's not bullet hell.
It's challenging.
It's also probably more challenging having a crowd of people watching you play this game while a band is playing. Like, they have to, because I think did he die? Oh, it was a sucker death. He died, but it was a sucker death. Like, he had to die. He died to get a thing.
He beat a boss, and on the way down, hit a bullet.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was like, oh.
I hate it when people shoot bullets and you jump on top of it and the downward force of you jumping on the bullet kills you.
Yes.
Yeah. that is a game where the gun you had in your hand at the time really mattered.
What are everyone's favorite weapons?
R means rarely helpful.
The favorite weapon in the game?
Spread. Not even close. Laser sucks.
Machine gun second.
Is there one that kind of swirled like that?
I did not like that one. Fireball? Didn't like it.
It was all about spread.
Yeah, my best friend had it when we were growing up, so it was one of those. He was really particular on what I was allowed to play. He basically, I would be allowed to watch. Like, he was always Optimus Prime, and I'd have to be Starscream. So, I was always, second player, and we would not do the code. So I would die really quickly and just get to watch him. For the
real pain in the ass 2-player, too, because if one person's lagging behind, that ruins the rhythm of the first player who doesn't get to stay in the center of the screen.
Right, no, it does. Definitely.
It's an interesting game you bring back. It was one of the first, I think, where you stole a life from the other guy to get back in the game.
Oh, you could shoot him in the life for what?
No.
Or the continues.
I think it took
Didn't you have shared continues?
Yeah, you had shared continues.
Shared continues as well.
Oh.
So we didn't answer. Who beat it in 3 lives?
Yeah, no.
I never did. No.
The only claim I can make is I beat it one time with 30 lives and I had 27 at the end.
Ooh,
but I was like 10 at the time. If I tried to do that now, I'd have no chance in hell of doing it. So I don't know. I could have lost 5 lives and gained 2 at the end.
I think I beat it in 28 lives. So
I can beat that game in 22 lives.
Yeah.
Beat that game.
So now,
did I say Jim Lang hosted? Name that tune, by the way. That was the guy.
Oh,
there you go.
Or you did.
Wikipedia, baby.
Yeah.
All right, so now I've got to say, this is one of those first games, too, that, and I don't know what all of your guys' experience were, literally every one of my friends had this game.
Yes.
Like, if I made a new
Ninja
friend,
Gaiden,
and we
Contra.
went over there, like, this was one of the 2 games that they had.
Turtles.
Hands down.
Yeah.
Legend of Zelda was in that category, too.
Yeah, that's the Mario, at least one of the Mario games.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah.
This is a rental for me. I never owned it.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. Like, I didn't own it, but my best friend lived across the street. So, I'd go over and either watch or die very, very, very quickly.
Number 33, another one I can listen to just all day long on a 20-minute loop.
Super Smash Brothers.
Yep. This is Melee, right?
Yes. I can just listen to that all day.
Another fun tournament game.
Heck.
Watch the best players play. That is
Did we combined? Yes.
No,
we did not.
Because we already had
Mario's or the first Super Smash Brothers was earlier in the list, and Brawl only got like 1 or 2 votes, and we just decided to put Melee in its own game.
Melee's wonderful. I was very fortunate, so I bought a used memory card. There was 1 save on it. It was a maxed out.
Holy shit!
Like they had everything on it, so I got to go.
Is that memory card corrupted?
I don't think so. I don't know.
GameCube memory cards corrupt like a
mine
mofo.
are still good. After you said that, I looked at mine, and they were
mine
still
did. I
good.
booted this up last year, and everything was gone.
I feel like I need to use my soft mod Wii to back mine up.
But this was the first Nintendo game looking nostalgically back at its library and incorporating all that into everything.
And all the little figurines you could get too.
That was
so
like
cute.
part of the best part.
Including games that Fire Emblem had never come out.
The single player game was just as fun as the multiplayer game because of all the retro inspired stages.
Was that the one with the Mother 3 character in it, or was that the
Ness
one?
was in it.
This was in that game.
Mother 2.
Mother
and it had an
was
Earthbound stage.
I don't think.
Okay, because he was in the Wii one. Because there was a
was
Mother
in the
3
first one, wasn't he?
that was put into
I don't think
one of the
so.
Smash Brothers games.
I don't
The
remember.
game never came stateside,
Oh, wow.
but we got to have the character in the game. So, like, hey guys, here's the character.
Well, and then they also throw in like a cameo of the Blues Brothers, just like hanging out in like either one of the sections or like
From
Ness
Earthbound?
like ran through like in the video opening and like ran past him or something. Because that was the same team. It was Hal that did that too, didn't they?
I don't remember, but Mr. Game & Watch. I mean,
Yes.
That
that how I
wonderful.
mean, just anything before 1985 always tickles me. And thanks for
This came out around the same time as WarioWare, which also really looked back into the.
Oh man,
back
there's
to
one that
toy
did make our
making
list.
days.
Totally, not to spoil it, but that's the one game I really regret not being on this list.
I mean, you can spoil something that's not on the list.
Gems.
Huh?
Hidden gems.
I know. Okay, that really shouldn't be hidden, but this was the reason to own a GameCube. Really, this sold
goodness
every
gracious,
GameCube.
yes.
Sensational party game, too.
Oh my
Like we
goodness.
said, sensational tournament game. They still play it.
There's
four controllers. I mean, Nintendo knew what they were doing with the 4
Yeah.
controller ports.
There's a really interesting documentary from Game Informer where they tried to beat the Guinness World Records for this, and it was like 33 hours they played.
Yeah.
And there's one guy who literally sat on the couch for about 14 hours and didn't move while everyone else was going to the bathroom. And you could just see him in that big moment, like at the 40-minute mark of the movie, where he just gets up and they're just like, oh my God, is he ever coming back after that? Did his bladder explode? But it was really entertaining. Because you just get to see them slowly lose their minds playing Smash Brothers over and over again for 32 hours.
That menu music for 17 million hours.
I enjoy,
This game
I
plus
suck at
4
that game.
wave birds equals perfect.
Oh yeah, I suck
Yep.
at that game so hard though. I will like play and screw around and have fun, but oh my goodness, the memory card I think was one of those like gifts from the GameCube gods, just so that I could play the characters that there's no way I could unlock.
Yes.
But
And
yeah,
that's-
Nintendo.
and this is
did.
one of those games where you had to unlock the new characters, and I love that. Like I love that you have to like earn new characters.
Yeah, when you don't know who you're getting, so all of a sudden it's like, oh, awesome, I got Falco.
Rock me, Amadeus.
I got Falco.
Oh, boo.
Jabba Dabba Babba.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Falco. He's a
All right, number 32.
Donkey Kong.
Yes, Donkey Kong. I could not get a good arcade sample, so I had to use the NES version. But 7 votes for the arcade version, 1 vote for the Atari 8-bit version.
Aw, I love our 8-bit people.
As do I. But this was it for me. I mean, it was Pac-Man and Donkey Kong growing up. Those are the 2 big arcade games, and it's hard as balls. Where the arcade is hard as balls.
Yeah, the arcade's crazy hard.
The other versions, it was the first game I ever played on the Intellivision. One of the worst games of all time, but still I played it. And
It was half decent on the 2600, too.
2600 was not too bad, but I didn't have a 2600 growing up.
ColecoVision was fantastic.
It was the bomb diggity,
Yeah.
but there's a good reason why. Well, it's because Coleco made the game for the other systems. They had a system out at the time, so they went ahead and they had the licensing rights for it, so they went ahead and they made a shitty version for the 2600. And
I don't buy that
No,
because
'cause
Gary
they would-
Kitchen did the 2600 version, and it plays well and it's animated well.
Because think
It's
about
just
this:
2
there's
stages.
2600. 7 million people have 2600. 0 people have a ColecoVision yet. You're going to make a decent 2600 version, I think. You know.
the Intellivision version's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, there are homebrewers that made a DK arcade for Intellivision. Fucking fantastic.
That's
Really?
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you can probably most people have Donkey Kong all over the place and aren't going to be that interested in shelling out for homebrew, but it's really, really, really good if you've got the extra cash and like Intellivision.
It's now a good time to talk about the mod that came out I think earlier this year for Donkey Kong for Nintendo.
Oh, the Pauline mod?
Yeah.
The guy made you Pauline, you're rescuing Mario
So
for his
you
daughter.
That's
That's pretty
awesome.
cool.
Well,
and they also released the Pie
the
Factory
Pie
finally.
Factory.
Yep.
You
Oh,
can
cool.
you can get the extended, which has the level that they didn't put in it. So I'm going to be one of the awful people that say, and I am a Nintendo fan, I can't stand the way Donkey Kong plays. I can't stand this game. I am terrible at it. It's not fun for me. We have one of the Donkey Kong like Coleco handhelds, like the little arcade units.
Yeah.
I don't like how that plays. I don't like how it plays on the Game Boy. I don't like how it plays on I'll play Donkey Kong Country. That's fine. But sweet buttery crap. This is just obnoxious game.
For this, I like the first level, and I wish maybe like it was just the first level, but getting harder. I don't know because they try to do a different thing with each level.
Spring. Ugh.
I mean, it's the jump commitment, isn't it? Honestly, the thing that bugs you is like once you jump,
but it was the first game with
committed.
that.
Yeah.
You know, arcade games up to that point were
shoot,
space games, and then Pac-Man was unique with
with
mazes. But this was the first, platforming, jumping, going up ladders type game.
It's please don't take offense at me, Nintendo. I love you, Nintendo, but seriously, I'm not a fan of this game. Like, if I had a choice in the arcades at the time, like I would wait until Berserk came out. And
thanks for Donkey Kong, we had the greatest video game movie of all time, King of Kong.
Yes, that is right.
We love you, Walter Day, our close personal friend.
And
screw you, Billy Mitchell.
I think the Tetris movie is
and your hot sauce sucks.
I was going to say,
also
the
it has.
Tetris movie is way better.
I forgot.
I'm sorry. There are wonderful deleted scenes on that DVD, by the way. So you have not seen it until you see.
Watch the deleted
scenes. Like
Zybots, the Captain Awesome's whole backstory that's creepy as shit. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, King of Kong.
You haven't seen a Tetris movie yet, have you?
Oh no, not yet.
Oh, the Tetris movie.
It's wonderful.
Very good.
Ecstasy of Order fans, go watch it. And Ben Mullen was on our show.
Interview from last year.
Yo.
But
I did.
Donkey Kong is awesome. I love and the fact that they kept going with Mario with that character, and Donkey Kong Jr. was a great take where Mario was the bad guy.
Becky, do you like Mario Brothers, the arcade? No,
it's okay-ish, kind of. It was. What was it in? Was it in Super Mario Brothers 3?
Yes.
Okay, so that was okay every once in a while?
Because you could take your opponent's cards.
That was so much fun.
Yeah. And then Donkey Kong 3 was even
Stanley
more.
The Bug Man.
It was Stanley the Bug Man. That was weird with the. Yeah. I will say the Game & Watches, albeit a pain in the ass, are okay. I like Donkey Kong Jr. and I love Donkey Kong Jr. Math. I do not like the first one.
What?
Yeah. Oh my God, Donkey Kong Jr. Math is fantastic. Have you ever played it?
We're getting our educational on.
I played on Animal Crossing.
It's so wonderful. Yeah, that was the first time I played it, and then I went ahead and I found it somewhere. I was like, $2. I'll totally invest in it. Oh yeah.
It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was all excited.
Black Box Games. Woo!
For real.
Are you mocking my love of Donkey Kong Jr. Math?
I certainly am.
Extreme.
If you hate Donkey Kong and love Donkey Kong Jr. Math,
my priorities.
But this is when they not only in the first games they try to do something different each level, but in every game in the series they try to do something completely different.
Right.
Yes.
Four different.
They don't
screens.
do that anymore.
Four completely different screens with different objectives. I mean, that was groundbreaking in 83, 82, 82. Was it even 81? I don't fucking remember. All right.
82.
The last game of this part, number 31.
Very good.
Galaxian.
Galaga.
Oh, I suck. I'm sorry. Pew 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 pew.
My favorite space shooter arcade game
Where?
ever. I mean, people say Space Invaders is more important, but
Galaga's better, no doubt.
People still play Galaga today. That's just the perfect simplicity versus
and you have
complexity, and the two ships and the risk versus
reward. It looks like what it looks
and,
like, and there's stars, and you're in space.
Yeah, it's colorful.
And that cute, that awesome organ sound. And
the appeal of it to me, who was like 3 or 4, there are all those other shooters in the arcades, and I always gravitated towards this one. So
where would you play it? Was it anywhere in Mansfield?
It was in that bowling alley at
Lexington. Wow, yeah,
pretty sure.
It's very easy to get into.
Sure. And that's the one with the warps, right?
No.
Is that Galaga? No, Galaxian. That's Galaxian. I'm sorry. I'm on a Galaxian.
Galaxian didn't have warps, did it?
Which is the one that had warps, where it would suck your ship in, and you lose a ship, and then you get it back.
That is that one.
No,
is that a warp? It's
they would capture your ship.
Right?
Oh, it's a capture. I'm
makes
sorry.
it so that you can have two.
I can have 2 ships. Okay, that's what I think of. I'm sorry.
Including the fascinating dynamic that if you had the double ship, you could have one of the ships get hit and still stay alive.
Yes.
But it never worked unless you're an extreme expert player because your hitbox is huge at that point. So it only makes sense in the early stages.
And you could blow up your ship.
Yes, if they captured it, you can shoot your own ship.
Mm-hmm. And you had to sacrifice a life for it. Like, it took one of your extra lives to get a ship back. So it was, like you said, the risk versus reward. You had to. I mean, it was a chance you had to take.
We did get 1 vote for Galaga 90, which we combined with the 7 votes for Arcade Galaga.
I love Galaga 90.
Yeah, it's quite good. I will say, I love the arcade artwork on the side of the cabinet. Very fun at the time, like comparing it to the Space Invaders.
Kind of green, a little too green for me.
But green, but there were some neat colors in it.
It's kind of that lime puke green 70s.
No way.
I'm not bitching. It's fine. I'm just it's a little just a little weird.
That game was hypnotizing too. I mean, just the whole time you're playing it, you got to remember to play. You know, sometimes,
pew, pew.
Especially when you get farther and farther ahead. Once you get to that next
and the
stage,
stats they give you at the end of the game.
I was going to say it was a stacky game too because
it
looked at your accuracy rate.
Yeah, which that's kind of weird. But 100% you're only shooting.
That's hardcore though. I mean,
yeah.
And then you had the challenging stage. Like, that
was
really cool.
And those sound effects for, like, each of the little shields you get for each stage, when you get to, like, stage 9, you go, beep, 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 beep. That was so satisfying.
Da, 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 da. Challenging stage music.
So wonderful.
Wait, is it called challenging stage? That's
like
Girls Garden had challenging stage.
Yeah, that's...
Pew, pew, pew. I like it. It goes pew,
now
pew.
you're just talking about the game pew, 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 pew.
Well, it's wonderful because... is that the first pew, pew game?
No,
there's
Galaxian and Space Invaders and...
Well, Space Invader was like, pew.
Oh, one shot at a time. I think
but this is a pew, pew, pew. Like, you could totally
You had
pull
2
up pew,
shots
pew,
at a
pew.
time. I'm not sure.
Pew, pew.
3, wasn't it?
2.
Was it 2?
Oh, damn it. So it's a pew, pew game.
Galaxian's underrated, too. That was the kind of the prequel to this.
I don't know why my brain goes there. Maybe it's... I know my dad was really into it in the arcade, and anytime we would go to an arcade, when I was, a wee lass, like, this is what we would... he would play that, and I would play Miss Pac-Man. But I don't remember a whole lot of... I think it would be like the Chuck E. Cheese times, where it'd be like, Mom and Dad want to get the hell away from the large talking... I'm sorry, not Chuck E. Cheese. Showbiz Pizza.
Ooh.
Because if we're going to do it, we're going to do it right.
So are we closing this by naming obscure pizza joints that had cool video games?
Pizza Palace.
Mr. Gaddy's.
Mr. Gaddy?
Pizza
Mr.
Hut.
Gaddy's. Godfather's Pizza?
There was always either a Pac-Man or a Galaga and Pizza Hut.
There was always a tabletop.
The cocktail, yeah.
Yes. Oh my gosh, and it was so wonderful because you get your book it, like you'd read your books and you'd get your book it stars and you'd get your pass for book it and you'd go in and like free pizza and video games. So cool.
Oh, second grade.
I miss all my stuff.
Well, that does it for part 3. We got 2 more parts. We're going to do 30 through 11 next time. And then we're going to have the grand finale with the top 10 and a big party at my house. And that should be awesome. But thanks for listening, guys. And thanks for voting.
Yes, thanks for voting. This has been lots of fun.
This is awesome, guys. Enjoying it.
And remember, for me, because I forget.
Pew, pew.
Pew, pew, pew,
pew, pew,
pew, pew, pew.
Pew,
Now
it's only
you're
a pew,
playing.
pew.
Not like pew.
Now you're playing with pew, pew.
Like all in the inflection.
There's our new shirts.
Hooray.
Now you're playing with podcast.
Hey listeners, this is Tatton. Just wanted to take a quick moment and let you know that there's lots of great places you can follow Now You're Playing With Podcast. We have a Facebook page set up, which is Now You're Playing With Fan Page. We have a Twitter account set up, which is NYPW Tweets, or Now You're Playing With Tweets. And, of course, all the episodes are available for download from NowYou'rePlayingWith.com. So we hope you enjoy the show. If you like it, please take a moment and send us a message. Let us know what you think about it. And we hope to have some more shows coming for you soon. Until then, thanks for listening.